Okay, it's 6:30, so we're going to call this meeting to order. This is the Board of Selectmen meeting, September 16, 2025. Roll call, myself, Bob Carlson, the first selectman. We have Nicole Porter, and Selectman Nicole Porter, and Selectman Brett Mastriani, and also Admin Finance Officer Suzanne Thero. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, so for those that don't come to selectmen meetings that often, we are opening now for public comment on something that's not on the agenda. So if you're on the agenda, we'll get to it. But if you have any public comment on something that's not on the agenda, you're more than welcome to come up now to the microphone and speak to us. Anybody online? I don't see anybody. Is there somebody online? That's you. Okay. All right. Entertain a motion to approve minutes from September 2nd.
So moved.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Do I have a second? Second?
I'll second.
Perfect. If you read the minutes, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor to approve the minutes from September 2nd, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That'd be a 3-0. Perfect. Are there any comments by either of the selectmen this evening?
I just would like to make a motion on the agenda, though, while we're here,
Sure.
to move the executive session agenda item number 7 to basically 12A, between 11 and 12.
Oh, 11A?
Yeah, or 12A, whichever way you want to look at it.
Would you want to go to executive session first and then come back and discuss?
Yes.
Yeah. So 11A?
Yeah, 11A.
Okay. So there's a motion.
Yep, I'll second.
Nicole seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. So we'll move 7 through 11A. Which means that you guys don't have to sit through it when we're in the back room going to executive session, although John did volunteer to tap dance and tell jokes, but we might not need that now, John.
I do have a public comment that I'd like us to look into since I'm thinking about it. I did notice the light that was installed on the flagpole by the memorials. Are we going to have a flag there?
Yeah,
On
is
a
the light
regular
working
basis?
yet? 'Cause I
Yeah,
know-
well, I noticed it the other night.
Right, because Alan was waiting for pause. Is that working now?
It was mounted and I saw light shining up.
Oh, as soon
I
as it's
mean, I don't know if
working.
it would have illuminated a flag, but I saw light coming out of it.
So soon, if it's lit, we're gonna put a
Okay,
flag up
great.
there, yes. And if you noticed, driving by today, we put new loom on the field of weeds. And we're gonna roll that and we're gonna put some seed on and try to get it up a little bit
Alright.
thicker.
Perfect.
So it's first step in trying to make that a nicer looking area.
Bob, I have something. So, you guys know I'm on the board of directors for Ledgely Health District. We've been talking a lot about cuts in grants and funding, and they are potentially going to be in looking at having to think about layoffs in the future. One of the things that she brought up is our opioid money. And I couldn't remember that night without my notes in front of me, because they had actually petitioned one of the towns who was really struggling to figure out what to do with their opioid money. And certainly they have programs and people that are in grant positions right now, funded by grant positions. So I just wanted to ask, and I couldn't remember where we're at with our opioid money
So
fund.
we just did a report for the state. I think we're somewhere in the neighborhood of $48,000. And we can only spend it, as you know, on that.
Yes.
Recovery, prevention, classes, and so on. So I reached out to Jen Mungio about a year and a half ago. And I said, I've got this money and I want to get rid of it, but I can only give it away. And she talked about, well, Narcan. I said, well, Narcan's not that expensive. It's going to take a lot of Narcan to. So I said, if you can come up with a program, just let me know what it is. I'll bring it back to the selectmen and we'd be glad to probably donate. We've only given out, I think we gave it $1,000 recently to in Norwich. We gave out $5,000 a couple of years ago to another company in Norwich that did therapy after. So I'd love to give some of that money away because we can't spend it.
Yeah, so let me reach out to her and see, I just didn't know how much we had and if we had earmarked anything for it. So I will reach out and bring it back to another selectman meeting.
Okay, I think it's around 48,000,
Okay.
Nicole, and unfortunately, I hate to see it just sitting there. We don't
Yeah.
even, we actually have to take it out of the undesignated fund too, because it can't be spent. It has to be earmarked for, okay?
Okay,
And,
thank you.
and I'd be in favor of something like that, as
Great.
long as it's geared towards what it's used
they
for. I
have-
don't want to just cover a grant position that they
Oh,
were.
no. This
gonna
would
do for
be,
something else.
this, I mean, they had their showcase, their open house last week, and there are workers in the community that actually will intercept with police and ambulance during overdoses. It's a prime time to actually capture people as they are given the Narcan and come back. They've had a good success, but again, funding is very iffy right now. So it would be completely within the realm of what they are doing as far as prevention and therapy and counseling.
Just as Brett said, just anything can do to also earmark is how will it positively affect North Stonington, if it can.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to, but it always seems better if it's effective. It's helping our town, so.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Okay, first selectman correspondence, two things. We had a tri-board meeting last Monday. And that went well. I think unfortunately, that was some like Brett and Stephanie and Lisa Mizell's last tri-board meeting. Lucky for them. But it was a good meeting and I thought it was a lot of good dialogue. We don't record that meeting. It's only in person. But because we don't have enough microphones for 22 people, but it was a good meeting. I think the tri-board meetings in the last 3 or 4 years have really helped us passing budgets and having board members getting to know each other. Second thing is I did go in front of the planning and zoning last Thursday, asked for the 8-24 review on the land, Anita Kincaid's property. And that got approved, I think it was 4-0 and 1 abstention. So now that moves on. We've already approved it to go there. The next step according to the ordinance is the Board of Finance. I'm not bringing it to them tomorrow evening, but in one of the next meetings, I'll bring it to them then. I'd like to get a town meeting in November, so I have to bring it to them prior to that. So there's some other maintenance we have to do for the town meeting in November. That's what one other, Brett, have you heard anything new on the mics or have you worked on it all? Or?
I like I said, I have them on my cart. I just have to figure out the extensions.
In your car? Or
My
your
cart. So my cart where I'm ordering.
a shopping
Sorry.
cart?
Yeah, the shopping. my
Waiting to
shopping
check out.
cart.
Okay. All right, so that money, I think was still good. We have, I think, to the end of the year to spend the money, but,
Yeah.
okay,
We can set a meeting and go over it next week.
okay, we'll put it on the agenda next week.
No, I mean, I can come down and,
Oh, okay,
and then we can talk about it.
yeah, because we don't meet again until October 7th, I think. All right, that's it. So now we were going to go in executive session, but we're not. We're going to do that later. So social services discussion, I asked Teresa, and thank you for coming, Teresa. So as we started, I think Mrs. Costanza came one night. I hope the first selectman from Griswold, who did it for 20 years in Griswold, is going to come one evening. I asked Teresa if she would come just to start letting us know, because we are not experts in social and family services, what it might look like in their opinion. And then we'll get together and try to get something hammered out by February or March. Is that when you're retiring? March, okay. So we'd like to get the ball rolling so we can roll something out by then. It may be different than what we do now, could be the same, but the more input we have, the better. So Teresa, could you come to the mic and just, yes, it's important. And just give us a little bit of heads up of what you do and what do you see. We kind of, you met in my office, we kind of had an idea of where we want to go, but I don't know how to get there. So that's why we're asking. You have to turn the mic on
Just hit the button right on the base.
and then lower it, lower it
And then you can
down.
Pull it down.
Okay, thank you.
No light on it? Oh, I can hear me. All right, well, there's 2 parts, well, 3 parts.
Closer to the mic.
3 parts to senior center. There's a senior center director. There's, which actually there's 2 parts. Senior center director who also does trips and stuff for the seniors, mainly in the summer. nobody likes to go anywhere in the winter, you know, might fall. There's a lot of reasons, but summer's when we usually go on trips. Then there's the agent for the elderly. So the senior center director, basically what that entails is all the um, activities that go on in the senior center. We have Tai Chi, we have chair yoga, we have 2 days of quilting, and then we have a painting class. And we're in the beginnings of making a day just for games or movies. So that was the next thing we're working on right now. That would be more for, you know, the summer or something like that when it's too hot to go out, but we have the air conditioning, we can sit in and be together. So, and that's important to all of our seniors. The other thing is cooking on for Wednesday, which takes me about 2 days between buying food, preparing food, and then serving the food. We normally have between 36 and 40 dinners every Wednesday. So that's the senior center director. The agent for the elderly, which is a really important for our town and what Bob is looking into and maybe expanding. But right now for the seniors, what I do is the heating assistance, which is number one. It's starting, well, it's already started. I've already finished 20 applications. Last year I did 71 applications in the town. The majority of applications are for seniors, but I never turn away families in town. You know, the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center is a wonderful place, but they also, you know, 4 o'clock they close. I don't close. I mean, well, I close, but I don't. I'll meet them on a Saturday. I'll meet them whenever they want to meet, you know, when they can. You know, just the other day when I did, you know, a family, she got out of work at 3 and I, you know, was here by 3:30 and I just took care of her. You know, it doesn't matter to me. Anyone who needs help, we do. And then the other huge part of the senior center director is insurances, which come up 4 times a year. This is helping people who want to change their insurance or miss the first sign up for if you want to change your insurance. If you're on Medicare, you want to get an Advantage plan, whatever you want to do. So that's a really big part of what I do. It's time consuming. That's very time consuming. Usually I don't think I can get done between 2 and 2.5 hours with one person. You're looking at 4 or 5 different plans. You have to put their medications in. You have to find out if it's going to be covered under one plan or the other. What is the cost? What is the deductible? There's a lot involved. So it's time consuming. But the majority of that happens to me between October 15th and December. That's when I get most of my applications for that. So that's very time consuming. The other thing that is not, I do it. I mean, I have applications I help people fill out if they want to go into senior housing. If they need to find any type of housing, not because it was senior, but their income is so low they can't afford it. And it's hard. It's really hard to find housing for them. I'm in touch with the Norwich Housing Authority, the Westerly, I mean, wherever I have to go. If they're a vet, it's easier to get them into some place as long as there's an opening. A lot of times when you're looking at older people, you're either waiting, unfortunately, for someone to pass to get a room or a place, or no, they don't usually move back home with family or anything. So I do that right now, and this is what I do. Right now, I'm trying to find a place for a gentleman. He's living in the hotel here in town. He doesn't have much money, and we're trying to find him a place. He was displaced because the place he had lived in for 15 years sold someone new, didn't want him. And it was something he could afford, but now he can't. So this is my job right now. I'm working, with somebody to try and get this gentleman a place to live. And mainly he's gonna need some type of assisted living, but we have to find the least expensive. Because there'll be a spend down, but it's gonna take a couple months to get him on Title 19, which is another thing I do. Title 19 is a very long, hard process for the family and for me. I don't know if anyone's ever had to do it. There's a 5-year look back. And it's not easy. It really isn't, but we do our best. Am I friends with the person in DSS, the commissioner? No. We've had some runarounds. But we both solved our problems and got people what they needed. I also do we call it the SNAP program. SNAP program is the food stamp program. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot of different little aspects that you need to know. And it's easy. You can learn it. You can learn it. I've learned it myself. No one taught me except for choices for the insurance. Whoever takes over my job will have to also get trained. They'll have to get trained for the heating because we sign disclosures. We know everything about these people. Every cent they have, what they bring in, we know medical, we know a lot of stuff. So disclosures are done. I can give you numbers of the people I've done, but I can give you names. That's irrelevant as long as we've gotten them help. So basically, that's what I do.
So Teresa, thank you. During the budget season, we heard a lot. Obviously, Sarah was in front of us. No, you're gonna have to, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
So Sarah's in front of us and there's a lot of talk about not just senior services, but family services, human services. And we kind of think that it's what you're doing and it's wonderful may take some different form when you retire. Because I think we might have to be a little bit more inclusive of everyone in town. So when there's an animal in need, and what does everybody do on social media? What do they say? Call caution, right? Everyone knows if there's an animal loose, an animal need, call caution. Somehow she takes care of it. If there's someone in crisis mode, flood, fire, illness, whatever, car accident, I want to be able to do the same thing. Like, where do I go? Especially somebody new
I
in
have
town.
all that information.
I know, but I think that, I guess my asking is, we know where we want to go, but I don't know how to get there. And if you were setting this up now, knowing where we want to go to this one-stop shopping for all people in North Stonington, not just seniors, do we have, I know you do a lot of it on your own, even though it's not in your job description, but do we have the ability to bring someone in to do that piece?
You can, but you're gonna have to pay them. I work 25 hours. I'm paid 25 hours a week to work. I work a lot more than 25 hours. And I do get compensated. I could take a day off, so that is a compensation. But I think you really need, if you want someone in there, you've got to give them more than 25, 30 hours. I mean, at least 35 hours. You have to. I mean, if something happens, they've got to be able to be ready, prepared. I mean, I've got so much information for people, and I'm very organized. It's in my file cabinets. It's labeled. They'll know where to go. They'll know what to do because I've done it. I mean, no one's come to me about a family where they had a fire. I've never had that. People come to me when someone has no place to live. It doesn't matter their age. I've had other young people who have come in, and well, this young man was 30, and we got him a place to live. I mean, I do what I have to do. I think if you were to put this in a job description and say, listen, we want to open it up to not just seniors, we want to do something, for the community, for families, stuff like that, that's fine. But, I mean, like I said, I take families for heating. It doesn't bother me to do that, and it doesn't, I don't know how many emergencies we get in the town. because I've not been involved, with that kind of thing. But it can work out. If you have the right person and they're motivated.
Teresa, do you think, so I have a couple of questions. One, what would you say the average participants in your activities is? The chair yoga, like what are we seeing? on
We're
a-
about, and with the seniors who come in and all that, we're between 80 and 100. It goes up and down. We've had a bad year this year with people dying.
80 to 100 in a span of,
A
like,
week.
can you? Oh, okay.
A week,
Okay,
yeah.
excellent, thank you. And then the dinner, just for my education,
36 to 40.
36 to 40 people come to the senior center?
36 definitely come. 4 I do takeouts. 1 I deliver, and another woman picks up the other 3 and delivers.
Okay, and that's just once a week on Wednesdays?
Yes,
Okay,
I do it only 3 times out of the month. Cook
Okay.
3 times. The first week, we have a group called the Golden Agers, which is a group of seniors, that put on birthday parties, different luncheons of their own. You have to be part of the group. Most of the seniors like it, do that. Not all of them. It costs $20 a year. Like I said, every month is a birthday. We have cake and all that good stuff, and celebrate for the month those birthdays. And then we have a picnic, we have a spring fling, and we have a Christmas holiday, whatever you want to call it, party. And what they do is, if the meal is $25 or $50, they pay 25, and we take the dues money and put it toward their meal. So they really are making out, and we do, rentals and stuff. So that helps with that. And it also
rentals
helps.
of the building?
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's been since before I was there. They've done that. The other part of the money goes to a scholarship fund. The fund was started very early in the beginning of, the senior center being built. And it was funded by this one woman. We give out $1,000 a year to anyone who is going into anything in the medical field. It could be a student, it could be an older person who decided to go back to school, So that's what we do. Usually what we ask is that they're from our town, or they're part of our senior center.
So your title right now is Director of the Senior Center, and then I know that you are the agent for the elderly.
Yep.
And right now, it's a 25-hour a week paid position.
Mhm.
You mentioned if we were going to add non-senior business to this person and say we created a Director of Social Services in North Stonington, do you think that there would be enough work for a full 40-hour person? Are you thinking that 35 hours?
I was
No, and-
thinking 35.
Yeah, because but I want you to remember that you're paid for 25. Clearly, we all know you are doing more than 25. And that's you. So I just want you to think carefully about if you were a different person who was expecting to be compensated
Yeah.
for all of the hours that they were doing. Do you think 40 hours would be enough? Do you think that it might be enough, maybe a little less? What are your thoughts? If you had the whole other, everything that the giving closet is doing for families, you had all of that on top
I
of
don't
what you're
think we should
currently
do the
doing.
giving closet to the senior center. I don't think that's their, oh,
No, so I think what we're trying to do is think about a very different structure. So I don't want you to kind of think about what the current state is right now. We're trying to think that if your position, which is Director of the Senior Center, became a very different position of North Stonington Director of Social Services, maybe it's based out of the Senior Center. All of that work still happens, but that Senior Center building became housing where other people could come for help.
Right.
You're already seeing some of them.
I do,
You're
yeah.
seeing the 30-year-old
Yep.
with no home. Do you think that 40 hours,
I think 40 hours is adequate, more than adequate. I think maybe our busy time, really busy time is September through June. It's really busy. Those are our busy times. The summer slows down, but that's because I don't cook in the summer. I'll tell you by then, I really need a break. No, really. So what I did for the month of July, because I don't cook for the seniors, I put together 10 meals, and they're in the freezer. God forbid if we lose our electricity. That's all I'm saying. But like I have 4 meatloaves made. They're made. I have to bake them. Do you know what I'm saying? I have.
you prep, you meal prep for the summer? so
I
you don't
do.
have to-
I do because it's easier
Mhm.
for me. You know, it's much easier. And not only that, there is an issue I think we're going to have to address, and that's about the food. I mean, I would still help out, but I provide tons of vegetables. I made 4 gallons of sauce just the other day, Monday, for the seniors, and then I freeze it. These are all from my garden.
Mhm.
The majority of the vegetables are from my garden.
Yeah.
We're not getting much from Pawtucket Neighborhood Center. You know, I mean, they have a need, they have children, you know,
Mhm.
but that's gonna be an issue that has to be discussed, is the food.
The food. Do you have, this is, so first off, you're like irreplaceable.
No,
What you-
everybody can be
What you have
replaced.
done and what you have learned and the knowledge that you have. Do you, I guess, I'm not gonna ask you what degree, if anything, you have, from school, social service, I don't know. But what would you recommend for the person if we were to create a director of social services? Do you have an idea of the knowledge and the training and the education that that person might need to come with, just to give us an idea of
Okay.
who we would be looking for,
Yep, okay.
if at all? I'm
No,
not saying that
first
they
of
would
all, they
need
need
to.
to go through social services. Not social services, choices. Choices will teach them everything. They need to know about the insurance.
Mhm.
I've already informed TVCCA I will be leaving in March. They're going to send someone over whenever you guys are ready, to, you know, have someone new, and we'll train them for that. Okay, so all of this can be done on the job training. I would suggest that if they're gonna do the choices, they get it done in the summer. You know, because that's time consuming, and they're gonna need to know, and I'll be available if they needs help, but,
We'll have you on speed dial.
Mhm.
Okay,
but
Thank-
again, it's, they can learn it.
okay,
They have to be driven. You know.
And organized.
yeah,
Well,
organized,
I'm
self-motivated.
Right.
And they won't have a problem when they walk in there.
Okay.
They won't have a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Teresa, I've known you for quite a while, and I know what an amazing job you do there. And as we look into this and we look to expand it potentially, and we talked about adding some of the recreational stuff that you guys do, maybe that is handled by the rec
I
department.
think
in
that's a
Fort
good
Lee.
idea.
Yeah.
My big problem is I'm not getting a bus driver.
Right.
And if you hire a real bus, I mean, I've had the real bus drivers, they have their CDL, you know, passenger
Yep.
one. So, but a lot of them are school bus drivers. And then unfortunately, there's one woman decided the last 2 years to work for the school doing the summer school program. Because what we do is, because we have our own bus, everybody pays the bus driver $5. So that's $100. I pay up to $25 on your meal and whatever activity we're doing. we pay for. So if we're seeing a play, it's paid for. You know, they don't have to worry, you know, it's something else to give them. I think a bus driver to hire is around $300 for the day, 350. So I think that's pretty cheap if you've got someone consistent.
Are there regulations that say if we are transporting?
Yeah, you need
People
the,
that they
C-
have
you
to
need
have.
the passenger endorsement, I think,
Yes,
for the
it
bigger.
has to be yes,
Yeah, it's-
CLD, or whatever you, CDL, passenger. has to
yeah,
be.
actually, Alan did a
Sounds
lot
like
of
sign up.
research in on that when they were talking about utilizing that bus for the school, for the sports
Yep.
programs and stuff.
Yes, well, I hope that the gym teacher is not driving the bus.
I think that was the old.
No, the gym teacher now. She was driving the van. The bus, a gym teacher cannot drive it.
Yeah, so they are
Oh, yeah.
aware of the requirements now.
Okay.
We did
Well, I
go through all
informed
that.
her too when they took the bus that she could not drive it.
Yeah, there's a difference between the bus and the van.
Yes.
So if we look at that and we look at, looking at, having rec handle more of the events and things that you do, because I do know you used to do a little more of those in the past and you scaled back a little bit.
I didn't have a choice. I had a
Right.
driver.
Yeah, so those are things I think we need to look at as we budget for this as well, of how that works.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to help, you have volunteers that help you do different things
Yeah.
over time, but you don't have any paid part-time
And I
someone to
don't
help.
I don't think it's a good idea. Let's say that. The senior center belongs to the seniors. It is their center. And in order to make it feel like their center, they need to participate. And that's really important. Once you take that away from them, would it be easier for me to do the whole thing myself, cooking? Yeah. Do I get annoyed because they don't see the dirt I see? I have a problem with things being very clean. It's my problem. But you learn to suck it up and just, okay, you do what you can, and then if I have to go behind them and clean, that's all right. But you've got to remember, it's their senior center. And if they want to participate, that's what it's all about. It makes them, we have a wonderful community of seniors that come. It's a really nice group of people. It really is. There's always one or two. Not saying they're not, but it's a really good, caring, cohesive group.
Well, you help create that culture, so we appreciate that. So I think this was very valuable to hear your perspective on it and really as we look into this. And I know some of the feedback we've gotten in the past or the other day was, someone with some social services training would be very helpful if they're dealing with a broader population as well.
Well, if
within the
you're looking
community.
for a social service worker, you're looking at a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to warn you,
Right.
because you don't pay me a lot.
And you've gone above and beyond for the years, and it is hard
No,
to
but
find.
it's my community.
Right, and it's hard to find people, and if you look at in the schools in different areas, when you do hire from outside your community, you don't always get the same feeling you do from someone that's,
Mhm.
because you're getting paid, but you're also doing it as a community service.
Right.
And that's we've been lucky to have that with you and some others in the past. So as we look into that, those go into that hour
Mhm.
conversation that you have,
Yeah.
in the volunteer part of it.
So that's why I really think you need to keep the agent of the elderly and the senior director as one.
Mhm.
First of all, you really get a wonderful rapport with all your people. And like I said, I did 71 heating applications, and not all of those people come in. They know me, but they don't come in for lunch. They don't come in to do activities, but they've known me for the past 15 years I've been doing it. And they trust you. They trust you with their information. They trust that you're not going to blab. Like I said, you don't go around talking about people.
We've heard that from Ms. Costanza, I think, stress that same
Yes.
important part.
It
that
is
you keep
very,
it.
yeah, and that's why the more people involved, not always so good, okay? And that's why I like where we're at. Because if I'm meeting somebody at a different time or, before somebody comes in, if I'm meeting someone, I've met people at 8:30 in the morning if they need me. They have to be at work for 9 or something. So it works. nobody sees what's going on, nobody needs to know, you know?
Great. I appreciate this feedback. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you. You don't have to stay for the whole meeting. Thank you. Move on to number 9, Stillman Road discussion on speeding. Is that, Diane, you're going to handle that, or?
I'm Diane Preston. I live on Stillman Road. The last couple of years, the speeding has really gotten out of hand on the road. I mean, it's a short street. It's not even quite a mile, but it's also a shortcut between 184 and 49. We've had a few near accident incidents on the road. People trying to come out of their driveway, and usually there seemed to be a certain number of pickup trucks. We've all noticed certain ones that come through, and they are, I don't know how fast they're going, but they're going so incredibly fast that going around the curves, there's no way they could stop. We have children on the road. Then there's a church school at the end of the road. I'm afraid, and most of my neighbors are afraid, that there's going to be, a really terrible accident at some point. We have had a few incidents where not only are they speeding, but they're aggressive to individuals if you try and slow them down. So I know that we can't have a policeman or a state trooper stationed on the road. We only have 2 in town. So that's not an option, but I'm hoping that we can come up with some sort of solution that will make it safer for all of us.
And I think we met in my office, you discussed this, and I said, well, we do have kind of a process we use, and I decided today to put it on paper so you'd have a copy of it.
Yes.
And step 1 is to acknowledge that you have a problem that you want to the Board of Selectmen, and we are also the LTA, the Local Traffic Authority. That's our job. So you asked us to address it, so that's what we're going to try to do. I said the first thing to do is I need to know, is everyone or most people behind this? And you went out and you got people to sign. It's not quite a petition, but a sign saying that yes, they want to see speed mitigated on Stillman Road. So that was the first step, and you did that, and that's in your packets. I sent it to you with the names. So that's great. So then in the speed mitigation process we've used, and it's actually gotten better since we've got more equipment from the state. But the first thing we do is we have a black box. It's probably about 8 inches. And that box, we recently put it on Rocky Hollow Road before we put that speed hump in. And that box detects traffic from both sides, coming in from both ways. So I was able to detect traffic from the stop sign near the brewery up to the firehouse, and again, the other way from the firehouse back down to the brewery. And it told me every vehicle during the course of a day, what time it went by, what speed it was going, and what direction it was coming from. So that we did that for 2 to 3 weeks, and we were able to, and I get a printed report. As a matter of fact, Diane, whether it be you or you designate somebody else, I'd be glad to share these reports with you so you'll see them. But we got that report, and that told us that there's an issue. We've since then, the state has given us 2 more speed signs, kind of like the one that's on Main Street. When you come in from the fruit stand and Truckies, I'm coming in every morning. I am going 45 on Route 2. I take my left in the Main Street and I go, 32 miles an hour,
Yep.
Slow down.
Right.
And it reminds you to slow down. And then of course there's a speed hump if you don't pay attention right after that. But so what I'd like to do is put the black box up for us and get 2 to 3 weeks worth of data. And then leave the black box up, but then put the speed sign on, and we'll know which way to face it, because when we did it from the brewery, and I'm not saying these people were coming out of the brewery by no means, they were coming down Wyosip Hill. So no offense, Carl, but they were coming, we'll say they started at the brewery after coming down Wyosip Hill, and they went to, and then we know more cars, actually almost 80% of the cars were exceeding the speed limit going towards the fire station. Less the other way because there's a stop sign, and that slowed people down. Then there's another one right at the bridge. So we'll know which way to face the sign, and having that box up, we'll be able to monitor the next 3 weeks is, did it make a difference? If it didn't make a difference, all right, we say, okay, now we have the black box telling us the times and the speeds, and now we got the sign, which also records data. We're not taking any pictures, we're not giving anybody tickets. It just records the data. Then we have all the data, and we go back to the people in Stillman and say, you've got the data, we have the data. We think that maybe a speed hump would be the next step. And if so, how many, where do they go? And I got to find out now there's a financial piece. What's it going to cost the town? And do we have money in the budget to cover it? So it's a little bit of a process, but we finally will get there. I mean, it took us 2 or 3 years to get the speed humps on Main Street. That was supposed to be 8 throughout the village. We put 4 in to try them, and they worked so well that we decided, okay, and then Rocky Hollow, so where's ours? Because now everybody's going to Rocky Hollow because there's no speed hump. I think that's more of a towards the end of the process, because it's almost like a last resort. But this gives us all the documentation. I think that even when you, Brett, when we were going to do Rocky Hollow, you said, well, let's get data first. When you're standing still and someone's coming by you at 25, it feels like it's 40 because you're standing still. But the box doesn't lie. If it's 40, we'll know it. So that's what we'd like to do. If there's any comment by the selectmen on that process, or do you want to change that process anyway?
No, I mean, I don't have a problem with that process. It's what we've been doing. I did your letter that you wrote in with the signatures. I just wanted a few answers, Bob, you might know this, but what's the current speed limit? So I see one of the things was, what's that?
25.
All right. That's why I said that, because it said, look at lowering the speed limit to 25. I just want to be clear on where we're at.
So it's 30 now? Okay.
If they don't pay attention to the present speed limit, why would they pay
Right,
attention?
I'm not saying that's an
Yeah,
answer. I'm
yeah.
just, based on your letter, I just want to have a handle on. And
Yeah.
we understand that speeding is a problem throughout town. Your road isn't
Yes.
by itself out there. We heard this numerous times. I just saw one for Cedar Ridge. I think there's a neighborhood group now getting together to try to talk about safety in Cedar Ridge on traffic safety. So we know it's a problem. But I like the process, so we're consistent across the board. So it doesn't look like we're
course.
favoring one road over the other, because this happens often. We do get
Yes.
this complaint quite often. So I'm all in favor of going through this process and seeing where we are after the monitoring them. I do find those signs helpful, even for myself.
Yes.
You don't always realize how fast you're going. I do like the newer ones with the little flashing red and blue lights. That freaks you out a little bit more, but I would like to go through this process. I think it's valuable for us to do.
Bob, months ago, we had a couple of residents from Swantown that we had opted at that point not to do speed humps. They were asking for speed humps. Is this something that we should go back to them and say, hey, listen, we have this process now? I know that there are unique circumstances on Swantown, but I do like the idea that there is a standard process that we follow, because everybody comes and wants something done about speeding on there.
I do think we talked about this process. If I'm not mistaken, Bob did bring up how we've done this in the past, and I think it was 2 residents on Swantown,
And
right
not
before the
a
dirt
consent.
road part, I think
Yeah.
was part of. So each thing's a little different, but I think Bob did bring it forward that, you get a chunk of the people, a majority of the people on the road to be concerned that way. But I think there was I think it was.
There was, I think that it went from, if you remember, that went from like a 35-mile-an-hour down to a 15. It went from tar to dirt. There was a lot of potholes in the dirt pot, and it was, I think, 2 to 3 residents. So again, it's easy to get 3 residents to agree in signs, much tougher to get all the people on a road like Stillman, which they got a large number. And I think if you don't get a decent majority, then it's tough for the Board of Selectmen to even address it, because if you've got 60% of the people in Stillman that say we want speed humps, that means 40% maybe don't. And it's tough for us to act on something that 40% of the road does not want. So, and then now, not everyone always agrees.
Right.
But when you get the large majority, at least we have to listen to it. And then we can start this process. And that's what we would hope to do, start the process. So,
Yes, well, we would like, I think children should have the ability to ride their bikes on their own street without getting run over. I witnessed one day the children across the street playing on their bikes, and they had just pulled back into their own driveway when one of these pickup trucks came by at a truly excessive speed. I mean, it was just screaming by. And had they been in the road, either he would have had to wipe out to avoid them, or the children would have been hurt or killed.
So through this process, if you'd like to be the contact person,
Either,
or it can be anyways.
either Clay or myself.
Well, you could either stop by my office and I
Yeah.
could give you copies of the readouts, which was,
Sure.
once the black box. The other thing is, I might want to meet someone on the road to say, where would you think the best place for this box to go is?
Yeah.
And then after we determine that,
Uh-huh.
the next step is, now we don't get the information. We know that, more cars speed this way than this way. So we know which way to face the sign, but where do we want to put that sign? So I might have to have some meetings on the road
Sure.
with residents. And then once we iron those out, I can get that documentation, the data, and I can share it with you.
Kate? Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
I'll just come out. That way you can just show me where to
I mean,
put them.
can you get 2 boxes? Can we have 2 boxes out there?
So we only have one.
Oh, okay.
We can move it. We can try it from one side of the road than the other, but typically
Okay.
Stillman's not that long. So if you're speeding at one part, you're probably gonna speed all the way through, right?
Well, yeah, you would think, but there are 2 straightaways and 2 bad curves. So yeah,
So I can come out with our foreman and we can actually put it on one
Okay.
and we can move it for a couple of weeks and move to another.
Sounds
I mean,
good.
it's a process, but
Yeah.
we want to get to the right answer. That's all. So,
So I
we
think
appreciate it.
in
We do.
regards to our process, I think we should motion it. So we're
To
consistent.
adopt it,
Yeah. So,
now that's in
well,
writing?
No, I
or-
would motion to install traffic monitoring equipment to start this process on Stillman Road. is what
Okay.
my motion would be.
Okay.
So that way, along each process, we could then, as a group, decide, do we move to the next stage?
And I can share obviously with you before I share with the residents what the results are. And I can share with the residents. So you motion, second, if not,
I second.
okay. Okay, so, well, all in favor of installing,
Hold on,
going,
what was the motion itself?
To install our traffic
The black
monitoring
box.
equipment. So basically, step 1 of the
Okay.
process.
Okay,
okay, well, good, all
So,
those,
second.
all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye, okay, so so now you get approval.
Okay.
I'll get a hold of you, Diane, sometime in the next week or so. We'll find a time that myself and either my foreman or my assistant foreman can go out. They're
Okay,
the ones that are gonna install the things.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll all be on the same page.
all right. Well, thank you very much for considering this problem.
Oh, and thanks for coming in. I know sometimes it's tough to drag people into it. Oh, Linda, I'm sorry, do you have a question? I need you to come up here though, sorry. Linda, I need you to go on the microphone. Oh, yeah, I
No,
can, but see,
unfortunately,
they
we do have
can't.
People online.
Sorry.
I love that you brought this up because I'm on Wyasip and it is a problem throughout town. I know you know where I live on the, right after, I think.
I know where you are.
Chester Main.
Main Road. I know, but I take my life in my hands. We all do when we pull out. We have to stop and listen. They even pull off of the other road to come up and they fly, but they're coming from the village and they continue all the way up the road. To get my mail, I take my life in my hands. We all do. And they say, Mom, don't go down there because you have to listen because they come flying up the road. It's everywhere. So if you can put the process that you have and send it out to all residents, so you're gonna get probably a lot of people on each road coming to you.
Well, the only thing with that, Linda, is there's one piece that's not on here. And maybe I can add it. It's the piece where I met with Diane and said, you need to bring me documentation from the residents of that road that they
Yeah.
even want us to do this.
Yeah, I think we
But
could add
people
that
don't
on.
know that, but if you could, or even put it in your newsletter,
I
the
was-
Yeah, I was
quarterly.
gonna say the
Quarterly, maybe.
quarterly.
Let
and
people
maybe on the
know if
website.
you are interested, this is what you can do to start the process.
Okay.
I think that would help.
Well, maybe that'll be I gotta write my letter, my thing anyway. This will be the front
Yeah, I
page.
think that's
Okay.
great with it.
But thank you.
And we should be clear in it though, too, that when it's a state road, it's a whole different
Yeah.
ball of wax.
Yeah, we can't, Linda, just so you know, we can't put anything on state roads. It has to be a town road. So Route 2, Route 149, 149, 184, those roads we can't touch. Okay.
Bob, do you remember how much the black box monitoring?
Doesn't, no, we gave it to us. We get this
Somebody
stuff
gave
for
it to
free. The LT, yeah, it's T2, Yukon Traffic Authority gives it to us for free. And they just gave us 2 new speed signs. We just got them. So, because I don't want to take the one down on Main Street because it works. So,
Do we
okay.
still have that temporary, the rolling one
It's not
that
an
we needed
official one.
batteries? something a while
We have
ago.
one on Dennison Hill. That's the second one we added the first two, and now we have two brand new ones. We haven't put them out yet.
I thought we had one that was like a cart-based.
Maybe it was here from the state police or something years
Yeah.
ago,
Okay.
but
I thought it
Um,
was at the highway garage, needed new batteries.
when we do put the speeds on it, we have to notify the state where it's going, so they can also see the data.
Okay.
So they have to know where it is. All right, so Linda, I'll take you up on your advice, and I'll probably do something for the quarterly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I was really thinking what I was going to write about in that anyway. Yeah, I didn't know what I was going to write for an article, so this works out good. All right, next, giving closet. So we have Sarah here, and she would like to talk to us. Since we last met during budget season, a lot's happened, and you are going to let us know what's happened.
Hello again. Sarah Valancourt, Old Colony Road, and Director of the Giving Closet. And I am here following up from our previous meetings to ask for an appropriation from the undesignated fund from our town in the amount of $19,500 to be paid to the Giving Closet. I will show you that we have followed the recommendations in April given by the BOS and BOF to become our own nonprofit, show sustainability, clarify facts with statistics within our NOSTO community, and show our organizational structure. Per your demand, the Given Closet has acquired our own 501c3 entity. This took away and will continue to take time and finances from my family. Applying for and sustaining our own 501c3 has also greatly impacted the time I could contribute to regular business hours helping our residents. We have our board, we have our bank account, we have our statistics, which I had shared some of you prior to this meeting, some of them prior to this meeting. We have our bylaws, we have our organization and sustainability explanation and order. The funds will be used in many ways, with a few impactful donations that will help with sustainability. With these funds, we will be able to provide personalized visits with our director for individuals, families, organizations seeking guidance. Additionally, these funds will help to continue to back the administrative responsibilities for our 501c3. I've already been asked to provide a report to our state and pay a fee out of my own bank account for this process. I have to file another report by the end of this month, and I believe another report at the end of next month. I do not know if there's a monetary value involved with providing these reports to the state and the government. And I did not know that this was going to be part of becoming a 501c3 when I did go and became our own entity. That being said, we are one of the very few organizations in our town that offer constant community service hours to students on a weekly basis. This ask will allow us to offer even more time to our students to earn community service hours as well as valuable life skills. Unfortunately, we have had to put any student volunteer opportunities on hold for now, as we cannot accommodate the adult supervision and guidance needed to provide this service for our future leaders of North Stonington. The Giving Closet has grown immensely over the past 5 or 6 years due to the demands of the North Stonington community and all of the service opportunities that we are able to offer. I cannot continue to take away time from my family without receiving a stipend. I will, of course, continue to maintain volunteer hours. Additionally, I would like to extend my talents and expertise to other volunteer organizations as well. Upon request, we can provide you with clothing receipts for families in crisis, as well as toiletry, sock, undergarment receipts. We also have food receipts and receipts for rents, mortgages, cars, car registration, car gifts that we've had donated, car gift receipts as well. What does the Giving Closet do for North Stonington? We provide community togetherness with our store and our community outreach asks. We give our citizens and businesses a feeling of giving back to our community. These community outreach asks benefit 100% of North Stonington residents only. This also helps to bring awareness to the different clubs, businesses, and organizations we have in our town. I personally did not know about half of the organizations and clubs that we have within North Stonington until I began to volunteer my time with the Giving Closet. United with our community, we recently moved a homeless family of 5 from a North Stonington hotel into a more permanent location for them. Because of this, we were able to enroll some of the children in school. The mother has found a job. The father is continuing to work his full-time job. This family was one of our silent community outreach asks, meaning that this stays private within our Giving Closet and our Giving Closet volunteers. Only the volunteers that need to be privy to the statistics. Most of the statistics and privacy stay to myself or my 2 closest volunteers that I've had over the last 3 years. The family that we helped move into a home, we were able to raise $5,000 for them. We were able to give them a home. We were able to gift them a car. We were able to gift them everything that came along with getting a vehicle, meaning we were able to pay for their insurance, their registration, gas, the ability to help fix the car, money from many, many different organizations that support the Giving Closet and trust in us. We were able to provide food to them, any and all basic necessities they needed to continue to make a new place their home. We have offered a variety of community service options for the students of North Stonington. These volunteers include National Honor Society inductees, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, life skills classes, and Give Back Club students. Furthermore, we are in the process of supporting one Eagle Scout project and are currently in the process of helping to guide a Girl Scout troop project. We work closely with over 60 organizations, businesses, and clubs to provide brand new clothes and gifts to our citizens for back to school, birthdays, and throughout the holiday season. We provide basic necessities such as toiletries and sanitary products, as well as diapers and wipes to our students and families. We stock toiletries and new outfits for emergency situations with our school nurses. We receive and distribute food in the form of meats and breads to provide to our families. We help reduce waste in our community by recycling in so many different ways. Donating to the Lions Club, recycling clothes, reusing bins, recycling bit boxes, reusing bags. All this means that we are only 5%-ish, I think it's lower than that, of donations that come into the Giving Closet make it to a landfill from us. So 95% of the donations we get are getting recycled or reused minus the basic necessities. And that to me is huge. We're here to share, we hope to share what a wonderful town North Stonington is for young families looking to lay down their roots. Most importantly, we have brought to the attention of our town leaders the help that our citizens have desperately needed for many years, which are only growing. We have an incredible support system and just need this one small ask supported by you, our leaders. If the monies are approved to continue to provide for the sustainability and growth of the Giving Closet, you will see a huge gain in our community, as I know you already have seen. In closing, we are a small and mighty organization that has changed many lives. With just a little support from our town, we'll be able to sustain our Giving Closet for decades to come. Thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity again to represent for the founders, the volunteers, the amazing growth and accomplishments of the Giving Closet throughout our 6-year tenure. We hope and pray you will see the importance of our mission and give us a spot in your yearly budget. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Sarah. I have some questions, but Nicole or Brett, would you like to ask first? Or?
You go ahead.
Okay, so just couple of questions. Congratulations on the 501c3.
Thank you.
And I know that during the budget season, we said to you, that's a start there before we come back and ask for any funding you have. Do you have, your ask is 19,500. Do you have some sort of a sheet to show, like, did you budget that 19,500 and where it goes? Do you have some sort of sheet that says, okay, like 15,000 goes to this and 1,000 goes to that? And I know during the budget season you did. Have you
I don't
re-budget?
have anything itemized at this time on where it will go. I know where I want the money to go, but that's since we're on now our own 501c3 entity. You told me you all typically just write a check and give it to the PNC, but you don't necessarily ask them where $1,000 is going or $2,000 is going. And I feel that we deserve the same respect, if that makes any sense.
So I don't disagree, but they do give us a sheet prior to, a lot of the organizations that we do donate to give us a sheet to say, this is, if we get this money, this is where it's going. Now, we don't ask them at the end of the year, maybe that's what's confusing. We don't say to the library or to the Pawcatuck neighborhood, can you show us where you spent the money? We just want to know how did you earmark the money? So, and it may be, you're probably doing it for the 501c3 people, I'm not sure. But is that something you could put together, a short sheet to say, okay, if the 19.5.
I have numbers of where the money needs to go.
Well, I have some
yes.
other asks, so I can, maybe there's something you can put
Does this
together.
have to be is this something we need to discuss right now, or do we?
No, I could bring it to the next meeting if you want to, but I wanted to, we don't have to discuss it now, but there's some other things I'm going to ask you for. One of them is, you said for the 501c that you have an officer chart.
Yep.
Okay, so you can produce that for us, right?
Yes, I can.
What did you say, Bob? An
A
officer?
chart of officers, because
Like
for the
the-
501c,
like
you have
the
to have a,
board. Who makes up her board?
yes, exactly, the board.
Yeah.
And
Is this a
then,
typical thing you do with all your other 501c3s?
yeah, well, they usually give it to us.
They
Like,
do.
when I get, and I can show you one
I'm
from.
sorry that this is all new to me, and I haven't really paid attention to what you guys have done in
Well,
years
that's
prior.
okay. You know what it is? Because we get them as part of the budget ask. So, and we're typically not talking about them in the budget season, but we have them and they're in our book of all the asks. So
Yeah.
we usually get how the organizational chart runs, where the money we're going to give them goes. For the most part, it's never going to have to be exact. Then does your banking still going through the school? Or you now
No,
disconnected?
we are Chelsea Groton. We have our
So
own
you're
account.
disconnected with the school?
Absolutely. I was asked to do that, so,
Okay,
which no, okay,
thank you.
yeah.
And then one last thing is, it said percentage of items, North Swindon residents are gifted, average 45% since our meeting in April. And percentage of North Swindon residents that shop at our store is 44%. But then I know you said it's 100% of the outreach, community outreach, which brings it up to a total of 70%. Am I reading those numbers
Correct.
correctly? Okay.
So there's 3 different, I don't know, umbrellas, I guess you want to call it, that the Giving Closet does. We do our store, which is one. We do serving residents that come to us privately. And then we do our community outreach ask. And our community outreach ask is 100% North Stonington only. I don't offer that out to any other families. If somebody from another town does come to us, I give a suggestion. Unless somebody is going to be homeless, then we try to bring them to our North Stonington community and help them the best we can from there.
In your list of board members, except for the director, are the other people volunteers or are they paid employees?
Volunteers, yeah. There will be no other paid employees.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's my questions.
And just to be transparent, all of my volunteers do know that I'm asking for the stipend. They're 100% behind me. They see the work that I do and the work that I've done. They are most retired and cannot get money and show money income. Plus, they don't do all the things that a lot of the admin does in the background. So we all have our own jobs on what we're doing within the Giving Closet. Since April, it's become a little bit more uniformed, and we only continue to hope to be more uniform. I do have some handouts here. It's kind of along with the Giving Closet, it also goes with the Social Services Department. I did reach out to another town that is comparable with us after attending the last meeting that I had gone to with Linda here. And I was a little concerned when you threw Griswold into our mix because they're 15,000 plus people, we're only 5,000. And the demographic and everything that surrounds it is different than where North Stonington is. While I'm all for helping other towns, I truly feel North Stonington needs their own thing.
So I don't know, how do we throw Griswold into the mix?
You had said something about the rec getting involved
no,
with
no, no.
Griswold and Voluntown.
No,
and-
Preston, Valentine, and North Stonington, that's the recreation department, which has nothing to do basically with the senior center or this, except for maybe taking that one social piece where they go on bus trips. Maybe
Yeah.
just push it over to the rec department. I think the other thing I said about Griswold is their current first selectwoman, Tina Falk, ran their social services for like over 20 years. And she
Okay.
was there when they got their social services building built, and she knows a lot about social services. And she was gonna come and guest speak at one of our meetings, we're not integrating with Griswold in any way. It was just to give
Okay.
her expertise to us. That's
Thank you
all.
for clarifying.
Okay, that's okay.
So I had called the man who's running for selectman in East Granby and talked to their lady that founded their social services department 26 years ago. They're comparable to us in size and not size, an amount of citizens we have. The age median is pretty much the same. The school system is very similar, except for they don't get hot lunch at their schools. And they have a human services department that has a senior services director, a youth services director, which is youth and families, and then they have their thrift store that they charge for their clothing. The money gets put towards their food pantry. And it is all only East Granby citizens that are allowed in this town. They did offer for us to go up and check out the setup that they have, which I think may be a great thing for some of us to do at some point, just to get her a better idea how the seniors, the youth, and the families are all correlating together. I know that there's a huge need for a little bit of everything for everybody in our town.
You said
so-
they charge for they have a thrift store.
They have a thrift
But
store that
you
they
don't charge
charge.
or anything,
We
correct?
don't charge, no,
Okay.
no. It also just recently came to my attention that our food pantry is only for families and students in North Stonington, understanding that the Costanzas go above and beyond if they hear of a serious need or a crisis from somebody. So that does not include our senior citizens, and that does not include our young adults who are single without children. Because there have been people in the giving closet that have asked if they could use our food pantry, and we're told, no, it is for students and families only. And this is new to me. I had no idea, and then I read the sign on our door, and what do you know? That's what it says. So I think that that's also another growing problem in our town. These are some things that I had printed out for you. It's from a website that shows our free and reduced lunch for the kids in our schools. For the 2025 year, we were at 14.74% for our free meals. And then the number doesn't show in here, but I think it's close to 5% based on the way the bar graph is. You'll see when I pass it around to you. Again, this is only families and students enrolled within our school system. The other page I will give to you is all the hours and explanations of hours that I have put in over the last 2 months, including the beginning of September, with my itemization of what I did during those hours. And then the next page is the spreadsheet that shows you roughly how many toiletries we bring into the closet and need, and how we keep track of what we need and what we have. And then the last page is showing you how many items and bags we have donated to the Lions Club. This is just an easy stat for us to get. Excuse the scribble, because it's the sheet we just write on the door and do as we're taking all the stuff out.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if there's anything else you need from me, or
Nicole?
Yeah, so, I'm gonna ask some probably sensitive and controversial questions. If you're not comfortable answering them, please feel free to say, Nick, none of your business.
Okay.
But I just have a couple of thoughts in my head. One, do you have a full-time job, part-time job that you are trying to accomplish at the same time that you're trying to do everything for the Giving Closet?
I have a part-time job. I work in a church, and my pastor sees this as a mission that I have taken on for the last 5 to 6 years, and allows me to do some of my charity work there while I'm at my desk, so I can have a small office space. So I work my part-time job hours, and then if I need stuff done, I'll stay there for 2 hours, do my computer work, then I'll go home, sit in my chair where my family sees me work for another 3 hours.
The 19.5
Mhm.
that you're asking for, is that what you are, because you keep mentioning a stipend, and
Mhm.
what the stipend will be able to do for the Giving Closet? So if we were to give you the 19.5, and to your point, it would be up to you and your board to decide what to do with that. And if you and the board decided that all 19.5 would go to you for a stipend as director of the Giving Closet, what would change with the Giving Closet with that stipend that you were able to have? Would you be able to be open more hours? Would you be able to dedicate more time? Would you, and this is where you can say, Nick, none of your business, would you be looking to leave your current position and focus efforts on this? So just talk to me
Yeah,
about.
so I have no desire to leave my current job. It's been my dream job for many years. It's perfect. They're super flexible with me. And they do a lot of the same stuff that I do as far as giving back to communities and helping people in need. So leaving my job is not an option. As far as what it would do, it would definitely provide more office hours. I think I wrote this in my message to you guys, but I'm not 100%. Okay, we'd be more sustainable by providing more frequent working office hours. That would mean we would be in this building, in our hallway, in one of our rooms with a desk, sitting there with a computer, able to help whomever we need to during those office hours. We would also have a more sustainable plan for having our store open. We would be able to add another day with another 2 hours a day. So we'd be able to offer different an afternoon, an evening, or a morning. I'd also be able to attend any trainings I may need to continue to stay up with any funds or grants that are able to come our way. We can allow our students to get more hours. I was trying to get the number of hours that we have given to our students over the past 2 years. It's just too much work for me right now. I just can't take any more time away from me to do that. But I will tell you that every National Honor Society student that was inducted last year thanked the Giving Closet for allowing them to have these hours, because I think I've only seen the library offer 2 days of hours so far this year. Outside of that, I don't really know who else offers community hours, as most of the kids do come to me. We will also focus more of our holiday freebie efforts on our citizens alone. I will not close all the other citizens out, because a lot of our donations do come from our surrounding towns. And there is a need in those towns too. So there's a lot of thought and talk with my volunteers over minimizing the people we allow into our closet and the towns that we allow it from, but nothing has been set in stone. Again, I just don't have the time or brain power to think of that right now. And then, yeah, did I answer you?
Yes, yes. you have heard a little bit of the discussion
Mhm.
around the social services revamping that we are trying to think about with Teresa's retirement. You know, I think about things that you're currently doing now on your own through the Giving Closet. And when I hear Teresa talk, a lot of what you are doing is what I would envision a social services director doing in a town.
I agree.
So one of my sensitive questions would be if we ended up, and this is a big if because we've just started this discussion, but if we ended up posting and hiring for some type of a North Stonington social services manager, director, we don't know if it would include seniors, we don't know what it would look like. Is that something that you might be interested in?
I will not leave my current job.
Thank
So
you for
if-
that honesty, and that's,
If it's something where I could still run my Giving Closet, I have 2 days a week free. I have Monday and Friday free. I work until 2:15. Most days I work until 4:15. So that gives me all my afternoon hours, and that that is the time I spend on the Giving Closet.
so I
I
think,
cannot offer 40 hours and still maintain the Giving Closet the way it is, but I agree with what Teresa said. The level of trust that you need this person to have with our residents will come through years of time.
but you understand that when I see you post online, people already have that trust in you. People already know who to go to. So part of what I am wrestling with, and I can only speak for
Mhm.
myself, right, is when the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center comes and asks us for money, when Always Home comes and asks us for money, the money that they're asking for, yes, we are not nickel and diming them. We are not asking, you know, give me an itemized list of where it's going. But we don't walk away, at least I don't walk away thinking we've paid a stipend to somebody to manage it. It is, we've given money to help the organization be able to continue their mission. I worry a couple of things. I worry that this year, where we are looking at a little bit of an overage in our undesignated fund, and we are looking at having to spend some of that money to be in compliance with our own policy. I worry that if this year we have money to be able to give and you utilize that as a stipend, what will happen next year if we decide, gosh, it's just not in the budget this year? What will happen to you? What will happen to the Giving Closet if we can't sustain the ask? And let's face it, every single year, the library, for legit reasons as well, used to ask for a certain amount of money, and every single year it needs to go up and needs to go up because of everything that's happening in the world. What if we can't match that next year? What if you get 0 next year, but we're able to give you 19.5 this year? How does that affect your
I am worth
organization?
what I am asking. My time, my dedication, my commitment is worth what I am asking, is worth more than what I'm asking.
I think that we all agree.
I know that. So if I was to get nothing, I go back to doing 2 hours a week, open for my store, the end, that's it. Everything I have worked on in the last 5, 6 years, my kids and my husband are asking me.
Yep.
So
Sarah, I told you this was going to be a really
I know,
sensitive
I'm doing my
conversation.
best. I know,
you're
I know.
doing a fantastic
I
job.
wish I could see into the future. I truly do. I love doing this. And all the people that we have saved, it makes it all worth it if I walk away with 0. But it would kill me and I would be extremely disappointed. And I think that anybody else who has a big heart and wants to continue to do this stuff, here's what I went through to keep getting told no, no, and no, that you'll have a very hard time finding another group of volunteers that is just so gung-ho for making North Stonington great.
But
So
but that wasn't your question. The question was if you were to get the 19.5 this year, what would happen if we couldn't fund it next year?
I would close next
Okay,
year.
that was the question, correct?
Mhm. I would go back to my 2 hours a week.
Just a couple of other questions. Has your board discussed fundraising?
We fundraise all year long.
Yeah.
We do.
So I see on social media where you have a cause, you have a family, you have
Yeah,
an urgent need, and then, I have seen people start pitching in.
yeah.
Do you fundraise on a more general basis? And if
Yes.
so, where are you posting that and how do
So
people
we
know?
do, I think I talked about this in my last meeting. I know I did, but so my husband has run Tushies and Toes fundraisers for the Giving Closet, where all of his company or his department comes together. We went to, they had a big gathering. They do get to know bonding experiences with teams. So we did a Tushies and Toes. Everybody brought underwear, socks, diapers, wipes, clothes.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
Because I was going through a whole bunch of stuff in my head of what.
So-
that was.
So then we did the same fundraiser, my family, we had 150 family members at a family reunion and they all donated to that cause. We've had, God, I can't even think of any of the other fundraisers off the top of my head. But yes, private, because I don't do big fundraisers in North Stonington because our town is so strapped. I got 3 emails today asking me to help for fundraising. 3 emails. Like, that's a lot. We are not as rich as people think we are as a town, in my opinion, from what I am seeing. And so we keep those for our community outreach ask. When a family says, I need help, keep it, you don't have to keep anything private. Let the citizens know that this is what their money is doing to help us. And that's where you see that on Facebook. That will change because we now have our own bank account. So with our bank account, we can get a Venmo link to the bank account. All the money will just go straight to the Giving Closet. I won't need to use any of my personal stuff. I won't need to have to keep sending screenshots to this person, that person, the people who are getting the money. It is just so time consuming. Our last community outreach ask that we did public for North Stonington reached over $10,000. We do have a list of questions that we provide to anybody who comes forward to us asking for community outreach ask. I do not have a copy of those questions right now, but we are not here for a short-term fix. We are here to help you fix the problem that you're going through now and provide you with a way to continue to grow. And all but one family that we have asked has come out above in all of this and is now a contributing member to our North Stonington Society. So, I'm sorry.
I love that. Thank you.
So again, I can't promise you what's going to happen next year. And if I were told no, I do think we need to hone in down on the 35K that's gone to the PNC for our town, because I feel like that's a lot of money for this. I have to be very careful. I feel like that's a lot of money. I do know that, I would like you to ask maybe some of these organizations, some of these harder questions, because throughout all of my Giving Closet, I do reach out to many of the organizations that our town supports, and some support us back, some do not support us back.
Thank you for your honesty,
Mhm.
your candor. Those were, I
Thank you.
apologize. So thank you.
And Sarah, just quickly, so some of the other organizations have been established for a number of years, and your organization,
Absolutely.
even though you've been established for 3 or 4 years, or 5 years, or whatever, 6 years, 7, you are now new again because it's 501c3. So
I cannot continue to do this. I mean,
no, I get it. So I guess that's why when you said, do we kind of grill the other, we get very detailed reports from them every year for our budget
is
ask.
this public reports? Like, may I come and
You
see
can,
your
I'll be glad to give
reports,
you
or-
copies, yeah, because they're public knowledge. When they ask us, once they ask us for something, it's public. So
Okay.
I have the reports from the last 2, 3, 4 years. You can see exactly what, because the organization tries to sell us on why we should continue to give them money.
Yeah.
And they give us the reports. So I'd be glad to give you the one for Porkadike if you'd like to see it. So you maybe
There's a
can.
few.
Then maybe
Yeah.
you could model that report for yourself after that. I didn't want to cut you off, but I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify the point. You want to,
I just want to start out, don't take any of the stuff here and the questions personal. It's not directed at you, it's directed at when we give money and we're looking at things and we have to answer to the public, these are things we ask. It's not, we're not concerned that Sarah's
I
not
understand.
responding. And
I
I know
know.
it's hard to be up
I
there
know.
and I apologize that it feels this way.
No,
Um,
I completely get it. I understand 100%. I just wish that there were more people in the room to hear and see and feel, not just for this meeting, but for many. And I'm no better than all the other residents either. I've only honed in since there's a piece of town that I have become. So, so get to these board meetings, people.
And a lot of people do watch online and they watch it on
Yes.
YouTube after.
Yes.
And I totally, personally, I value everything you've done over time. That's
Thank
why I
you.
try to help out with the toy drive and all those things. But as we go through this process, there are these questions that are uncomfortable to ask and discussions we have to have. Pretty much, my colleagues here have asked most of the questions that were going through my head. And I'll just go through some of my concerns, my questions as we go through it. Because we did get some public outreach from people that were afraid to speak up publicly with questions. Some were volunteers that helped you along the way that had concerns of different things about time, how this would implement time. And you've answered a lot of those questions since your first ask. So thanks for going through so much to get us to where we are now. Some of the things that I wrestle with right now in saying, let's move this forward tonight would be, as we look at this social services in the bigger, the way we're looking at it in from a higher level in Paughnett Neighborhood Center, all these things, how we donate in the future, we're right in the cusp of saying, what are we doing with social services? How do we make this work for our community? So I wrestle with that, saying, let's send this through, and then we're still going to work on the other thing. I would, in my mind,
I don't know how you're going to get one person to work 40 hours a week to do her 35-hour job for only the seniors, plus add in a food bank, a giving closet, and a social services for not seniors.
Right,
Like,
and I
that
don't
sounds like 3 to 4 different jobs.
and it could be, so it could be assistant, it could be, like you said, in East Granby, they have someone for the elderly, someone for the, it could end up being that way, and we're working through that now. So no matter what comes out of this with the giving closet, I think the giving closet has to be part of that conversation as we move through of how we are looking at things. And so I don't,
I'm my own 501c3 now, though, because
I-
that's what I was
Yeah,
told to
so
do.
one of the
So-
questions that, one of the thoughts that I had, right, is as we are having the discussion about social services and knowing that there is a food pantry that is handled by Mrs. Costanza, giving closet belongs to Sarah. So in my mind, I think I was trying to come up with a way to give you what you needed, but almost in an expanded role, right? And
That's what I want. That's what this town
but
needs.
what that might mean, though, is in order to not justify is the wrong word and it's way too strong, but I just can't think of anything else. In order to justify, not that I would think that this job would get only 19.5, like that clearly, if this were a position and the giving closet and the food pantry were lumped in together with this position, it would be probably much more than 19.5. But in that way, so what I hear you say is that you are in a very good way, very possessive of your brand new 501c3. You guys started it. It belongs to you. You give back to the community. So joining in on any kind of social services structure that we put in place may not be even something that you're open to.
Oh, I'm absolutely open to it. I think the more people that can, the more organized, the more organized committees or jobs we have to be able to take on these individual roles, I am all for it. I cannot guarantee you a 40-hour job week. But I think that a lot of the stuff that I do has to be one person with volunteers. I think that all the stuff Teresa does needs to be one person with volunteers. Like she said, you put too many people in charge, you get nowhere. There's too much conflict of interest, then your privacy goes out the window. I just lost
So
my
let me,
train of thought.
so Nicole, I see it a little different. I see the Given Closet as a resource for the social services department. Just like we say, someone needs a home, and there's always home. Actually, Trish just left, but always home is someone we can refer to. So I think this person or people in the social services department, you come in, you're in crisis, your head's spinning, and you need someone to help you with the answers. I'm sure you've dealt with this many times.
That's
some-
what I do.
I know.
That's-
So somebody's got to
yes.
have a clear head. It's not usually not the
Yes.
person who just had the tragedy happen, right? So you come in
Exactly.
and you go, this is what I've done. This is what I need. And you're going to say, settle down, hold on. You need food. Okay, you're going to go here. You need clothes. You're going to go here. You need housing. We're going to go here. And I'm going to help you. And I can see how emotional. I So let me make the phone call to set the appointment for you. And this is, I'm sure there's things that you've already done many times. So I'm seeing as the Given Closet and the food pantry and where as a resource, not so much as a actual part
the
of,
social
but a
services
place to go. Well, it's just my thought. It could end up differently, but that's what I was thinking for now.
I don't see the social services thing happening like pronto. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go into getting that planned. In fact, I don't even know that a department would be able to be created by the time Teresa leaves if somebody doesn't hire somebody within the next couple of months. There is so much to know. So much to know. It's taken me over years to educate myself on a lot of this stuff. And I'm still learning. I reached out to you. Can you help us with the homeless family? No, we can't. That's a problem. We need to fix it.
Well, so I
No.
don't appreciate the way you said that because I don't think I said, no, I can't. I gave you the reason why we have a line and I don't go, there's a line in the budget called the welfare line.
Yes.
And we can use that line to get somebody housing when we say their home is now unlivable. We've condemned the home. The town has
Yes.
condemned the home.
Yes.
We
Excuse
have to
me,
by,
I
we have to by
misspoke.
law, find them a place to live for
Right.
X number of weeks. So that's what that money's there for. And that's a state law. All towns have to do that. But if someone comes to me and says, I need housing, that's not our department. And that's why we have people
Right.
that we donate to, like Always Home out of New London, to guide them to say, that's where you would start. So, yeah, I don't
So
think I
does
just said,
the Board of Selectmen have like a sheet they give to people in crisis that come to them, or do we just give them to Teresa?
so
And
we don't have a sheet. Again, it's not in what we do. That's why we wanted to form a social services department, because we're not experts in social service. I mean, if I might tell you to do something that's totally wrong or
So can I ask you
misdiagnosed.
an honest question?
Sure.
Did this just all stem from me showing the importance of the need in our town, or was this spoke about before?
I think that what you did was you opened up a discussion. I think what you did in your heartfelt way through the budget process, people started coming out saying, you know, Sarah makes a lot of good points. Why don't we have more? Why don't we have more that we can do in the town? I remember someone on the Board of Finance said, we really need going forward, because they listened to what you had to say. And I think sometimes we don't even know we have a problem because
No, absolutely. Why
happens in
would
the-
you? How
it
could
happens in a
you?
rural part of town where we don't know.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks everything's hunky-dory, right? So then you expose some of the problem we have, and then the town starts thinking. And I think that's part of our leadership, is to say, we heard that, and now what do we do to fix it?
Which I commend. I think this is a huge thing to try to get a social services department in our town. I'm just telling you, it will not be done the right way if it is not done within the next month or two of finding somebody to hover behind Teresa and see what she does.
So that's if we do it exactly the same way.
Right,
and we may not.
right.
So she's retiring in March, so we've got 7 months, and that's why we started this discussion 2 weeks ago, so we can get ahead of it a bit. I'm hoping we get it done by March. If not, if we need an extra month or two, maybe I can talk her into staying for an extra month or two, but
Let the woman go, Bob.
but I think that's why we're starting early. We didn't start this in January or February. We started it in August. So anyway,
And I think when we look at this, I think people have been talking about social services for years and years. I think you brought some of it more to the forefront, and I think also the dollar ask brings it to the forefront. So as we talk about these things and people on the Board of Finance or wherever start saying, hey, we're spending all this money in different groups, should we be looking at consolidating it and focusing more on North Stonington and how we work through it? Because with social services, it's not just about helping people that are in need of housing. You have people, domestic violence people that need some support. You have sexual assault people that need, the victims that need support. So it encompasses so many different things, and that's why we're trying to look at everything. And what you're doing is part of needs in town. So getting back to what I was saying about the timing, I think if we're looking at it, we need to look at the dollars and cents, because the worst thing we could do is what Bob, or actually Nicole said, is fund you this year. And then as we look through this process and saying we need these positions and we're looking at these dollars, not being able to fund you next year. Because that was some of the concerns that we had in some of the emails about sustainability of the program. And if for some reason you decided you didn't want to do it any longer, what happens to the momentum that's been built, and what happens to the dollar values that have been put into it? So those are all the things I think that we're looking at and trying to come up with consensus on. Some of the other questions that I had, though.
May I respond to that?
Sure.
So the dollar amount that would be put into it for this year will help all those people in that bubble you just said, the rape victims, the domestic violence, all that money that you would be giving to the giving closet is helping all those people for this year, right? We're talking about the budget for this year. So none of that money is going to be used to ask to get an employee to do this or get an employee to do that. It's just going to be to continue to support everything that we are currently doing. I do not plan to do any more with this. I have grown to my capacity. I'm not
Right, and I'm not saying
I'm
you
not
need
going
to,
any further.
I'm talking about the overarching plan of what we're working towards.
Right, so that overall plan you're working towards, the money I'm asking for now is to help us for this year, maybe to help you get through your vetting process of whatever you're gonna do with the social services department. I still hear that this is literally just the beginning of a human resources department conversation. Between the three of you, not only just the three of you, but all the other townspeople and the way they work things, coming in to give their opinions. So I know what you three are up against, and it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of phone calls, a lot of statistics. I would pray that we get something done for certain. I just don't think you're going to have a super sustainable human resources department by the time the next budget season comes around and I come to ask for my portion again. So I'm trying to help you guys understand why this is just in the now. Like, I know that you're saying, what if we fall apart? Well, what if the PNC falls apart? Like, how come I'm not being given the same chance that they were all given in year 1, 2, and 3? If no one gave them a chance, they wouldn't be where they are today. And you three are the only ones that can give us that chance. So
Yeah, and I don't know the history of how they started. I don't know if they
I'm
got
sure it was
donations from the
volunteers.
community, and then the board decided to pay them based out of what they got from the community, and then they reached out to other towns.
How
So-
many years have we been supporting? That's another question I come and say. How many years have we been supporting these other organizations for?
as long as I've been a selectman, so for 8 years I know of.
And I've been elected for 18 years, and it's always been in the budget as far as I.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we were one of the first towns that gave them their money.
but
I'm just saying,
I understand where you're coming from.
I know,
completely.
I'm just trying to plead my case. too.
You don't have to, you don't really have to plead.
I
it.
do, Brett. I've spent like hours and half
We
my life up
understand,
here.
and we just need to talk through. I think some of it's us talking through
I
it too
agree.
and coming up with
And
it.
and don't forget, everyone in town is not here. So we have to represent everyone in town and ask questions that they might ask if they were here.
They can call me on
So
my
that-
number, my email, whatever.
the-
If anybody needs
one of the-
anything from me, I am, yeah, I'm honest and
And as you mentioned that, this was one of my other caveats that I've been thinking about since I received the letter. Is if we decide to move forward with this ask, my recommendation would be that we do send it to one of our town meetings coming forward. Because you have a lot of support. And if those people are coming, and there are people with questions and concerns, so if those people are coming, if your supporters are coming, it allows us to vet it out, because I would hate that $500 difference. To me, we're almost skating around the statute, right? We're saying, okay, and we do this for town stuff. so-
I don't want to do that, Brett. That's
Right,
why
so
I
what
came
I'm
back
saying-
to you, what I came back
Right,
to you
so-
with.
but-
I can't,
I'm
I
not saying you're
physically
skating
can't
over-
do it.
So I'm saying, and it doesn't need you to present, I'm just saying, if we're going in for $19,500, we're having town meetings coming up. If we move this forward, I would suggest we do it at a town meeting, let the residents choose to support this.
The residents don't know what you three know by the meetings that I've been here to do.
Right, so this is, that's part of
I'm
our
not asking
job.
for a new fire truck. Like, this is, I'm not saying that's not a huge deal. That is, but you don't need, you don't need binders and binders and binders of statistics to get a new fire truck. Like, it's a yes or a no, right? So I'm fearful to go to the town because I'm not a public speaker and I don't want to stand in front of those people and do what I'm doing tonight in front of you three. I've done this too much. I'm burnt out.
Yeah,
I'm
and-
burnt
and-
out with the ask.
And maybe that comes down to us to talk about it a little more at the town meeting, or someone from your board to talk about it a little more. Because what will happen, no matter what, if we vote to put this through, then you have to plead your case almost to the Board of Finance, right? So that's the next step. But then come May, April, we have to go through this budget process to continue it in the budget. And we have to go to a town meeting and discuss it there because it will come up. So I'm thinking that if we're so close to that $20,000 mark, we probably should go through that process if we're moving other things to town meeting and you guys are on board of moving this
So
forward.
it would need to go to Board of Finance anyway.
It has to go to Board of Finance no
100%.
matter what.
Yeah.
So then just the next step is a town meeting and you vote on a town meeting. It's not a referendum.
So, I mean, I think we definitely, I don't think we're gonna just decide tonight to send it to a town meeting. But we do want you to understand that tonight, the only thing that we could do tonight is to vote to move it forward to the Board of Finance. This is taking out $19,500 out of the undesignated fund and giving it to your organization. That would need to pass through the Board of Finance. We can only approve it to go to the Board of Finance.
I
Carl's
understand.
clearly, so I completely understand how emotionally draining this entire process is because you're so
And
passionate.
there's so much
But at the
time.
very least, you're looking at having to present to the Board of Finance.
I knew that and I'm fine with
Okay, I
that.
just want to
I,
make sure.
I do not want to present in front of the town. If that were the case, I would ask for the 35,000 if I wanted to go in front of the town. I don't have it in me. I have to close this door, whether it's a yes close or a no close. It's just been too long.
Yep, no, I understand.
Just to, actually, I'll just wind it down to two more questions.
Thank you.
Now that you're a 501c3, how do you handle insurance? Are you insured?
For what?
Okay, so there's many things. So all the 501c3s that we donate to usually have insurance, especially,
Because they have employees.
but
Right.
so where I wrestle, and I'll just be honest, is you're in a town building
Yep.
with residents from wherever doing separate things. So if we hold an event in here, so when I did the farmer's market in here, we have to provide the town insurance to be able to hold that in here. and it was event insurance. So we held that for them. Those are my questions. Will that be in your budget at a future time to have insurance? And also for your own liability, if you were to donate something, and you might want to look into this, and you donated that car, somebody got hurt with that vehicle, they can come back on you with that.
I didn't donate it. It was signed over as a gift from the person that gave it to them. My name is nowhere
I'm
on
just
it.
talking about maybe any of the things. It's just something you might just want to look into for your own personal liability, your family's liability. If anything were to happen from the giving closet and somebody, unfortunately, we're in a world that people do and
So
things
my
happen.
name is not on anything that has been gifted from the giving closet, and the giving closet's name is not on anything that has been gifted.
So we just might need to look into that as we move through
I
that
was told
process.
the meetings prior that the town had insurance on the building, and if you were to charge me, you would have to charge Costanza for the food pantry. So I think that
And maybe that's the case,
that's
but I
your
think
call,
we-
I think, but
I think we need to be comfortable that from the town side, we are covered through some kind of liability insurance for that. The second thing is in the future, and this came up through a lot of conversations, would you look into, or would your board look into, if this is funded through the town and you're not asking other towns for money, would you look into making it just a North Stonington resident giving class? Because the town is providing.
I can't answer that right now.
It's just
Chances
something
are
to think
no.
about.
We get a lot of support from Westerly, a ton of support from Pawcatuck, and
When you say support, like donations?
donation support
From residents?
from
So
residents.
that's different than the.
But I'm not
community
done,
giving.
but we also get a lot of support from organizations, not a single organization in our town. So every organization in all of our surrounding towns. I'm not going to throw their names out there because it's business
So
between the Giving
monetary-
Closet and them, monetary. So there was a resident that gave us a check for $4,000 and we were able to purchase a car for a
So-
student.
So I will just be clear, that is much different than the town. So multiple towns give the PNC money.
Correct.
They have their own insurance, they have their own thing. The town's not also providing the building for them to utilize. So these are just the things to think about that come up that we as a board and as the Board of Finance or any elected official have to be able to defend to the
So-
residents that ask those questions.
No, I understand that. So I was told that my ask would make our taxes go up maybe a penny, if that, like non-existent. I was also told from one of the meetings, I don't remember with who, the insurance situation, if you take from us, you have to take from Costanza. We are very grateful to Bob for gifting that aisle to our town. Without that aisle, we would be lost. That also goes to say that any of the students and teachers come over. I'm not trying to ensure everybody that walks in our building to earn hours from me. Like, yes, I love the help and it's great and I love the experience, but I can't afford to pay for service community hours. So is all these hallways not insured, or
So
do
there-
you see what I'm saying? Like,
I
there's different
understand what you're saying.
avenues
So
and
this
levels
hallway's
and
insured for the school. The daycare has their own insurance and liability.
understandably.
insurance. So- Right, so they operate not much differently, except they're for profit, you're for nonprofit. I'm just throwing out the liability side. It's not.
I don't know.
the answer
I
tonight.
honestly have no idea,
Yeah.
Brett. You may know better than me
This
about
is-
if a nonprofit needs an insurance
Well,
because
I mean, I think we would.
of
whether
their
the town-
own, whether,
So the town, I think we should just look into that as we move through that process. It's nothing to do with you, it's just for our liability.
Mhm.
And that might be, maybe it's $100 policy that we need to get as a town and we say, hey, we're gonna support it, pay for it. I don't know. I'm just throwing out these questions because I think it's just something that we need to be able to answer. And if, God forbid, something were to happen, we're not caught up in the air and there goes our undesignated fund, our insurance, all those things. It's nothing against you.
no, I
If it was
understand. I just thought we
anybody,
already
yeah.
spoke of this. So
Yeah.
I apologize, I guess, if, I don't
Yeah,
know
and I'm not,
anything about
and I
this.
honestly am not fully aware of.
Sir, I'll
how
take that
those-
off your shoulders. I'll handle it. I'll
Yeah.
talk to our
Thanks, Bob.
insurance company and find out. I explain the situation, explain that we have more than one organization in that aisle. And how is the town protected? They may say we're protected because the building's insured. I'm not sure, but we'll find out.
Thank you.
Yeah, and with the pantry. The only reason that I thought that was a little different is because they don't really have a lot of people coming in. Isn't that more delivery service?
There's plenty of people that do volunteer hours
Well,
there as
volunteer is
well.
different.
And there are people that go and shop there. We've been asked plenty of times to please stay outside of the hallway because
So we,
Linda has to do her job.
Right.
So
so we can get the answers on that and how we're covered. Because then I do think it bleeds out into a lot of the other activities we do here, that when we do require insurance, whether we make them. If they're
right, like when you
nonprofit.
have the toy drive, what happens to all those, if one of those crazy kids running around the hallways were to get in trouble, like during the farmer's market, it's,
So the
you,
farmer's market.
you pay for your own
we pay
insurance.
for insurance for the farmer's market. Yep, it was event insurance.
And that just covers everywhere in the building.
Yeah, it covers the town. You have to list the facility you're doing it at. It's $1 million coverage policy. And that was a requirement from the town. Yep.
Well, but you just let me know, Bob, and we'll talk about it from there.
Yeah,
whether-
I'll talk to our insurance company.
Thank you.
Again, I'll explain the situation and see what, they must do this in other towns, so let me do that for you.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, any other questions this evening?
That's all I have for it. I think you guys answered most of the questions, and you've done a lot of work from this first ask till now. So
I did everything you guys asked, literally everything.
And I can hear, you listed everything.
Everything.
And the growth that I have seen in your ability to understand what it is you're doing.
I'm
at a
truly trying.
Really high level. It is absolutely noticeable, absolutely noticeable.
I hate that this is falling the same time as you guys wanting to make the human resources department. I feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick because of,
No, I think we're just trying to, so when there's so many different things happening all at once, we're just trying to make the best decision we can with everything that is going on, right? Teresa is retiring.
Mhm.
Teresa's retiring. We have to figure out what to do. You came, you brought to light what the ask is. There is what's going on in the world right now,
Yeah.
right in our town. People are just, now is the time that we have to talk about what to do with social services for our own residents, because times are so tough right now. They weren't like this 10 years ago. There was not the need that Mrs. Costanza and you see every single week. We just want to make the best decision that we can
I
with
understand that.
all of these different moving pieces happening, and not make one decision over here in a bubble and then have to go back and say, oh God, well, we just did this. So now we're kind of screwed doing what we have to do over here. So it just kind of all came to a head. And I think for me, I'm just trying to figure out how to put the giving closet and the food pantry under some type of an umbrella that nobody would question the 19.5. Nobody. Believe it or not, you may not feel like we're on your side.
I do.
We are trying.
I don't think you
to
would have
help
asked of all of this.
mitigate those future conversations that we have to have.
One last question that just popped into my head. If for some reason we voted, whether it's this meeting, the next meeting, to give you less than 19.5, would you guys still be looking for that? So that happens, that's very typical when we do get requests from all the other organizations at budget time that we go through.
Yeah.
And we do knock that down. Or the Board of Finance might say, hey, we won't approve this, but we'd approve that. So I'm just wondering how that would affect any of this going forward.
It would take away from the town of North Stonington and what the giving closet does to continue to keep our residents that are in need comfortable in their lives that they're living. That's, yeah.
So if we move this to the next meeting, I don't need you to come, you can come back and listen. I don't need you to come back and present again. God, you've presented many times already. And save that energy for the Board of Finance if we approve it. 'Cause
I know.
that's we're
I
gonna
know.
move it. If we move it, that's what we're gonna move to next. So let me get some information on the insurances. Let us, think more about this. I want to make sure we make the right answer, but I don't, in my mind, I'm not sure about the other selectmen. I'm not pitting you against what we're trying to do in the social services department. I'm not gonna say, well, if we need this, we don't need this. It's not you or them. I think we need both. And I would think you would
I
be
think we need more, yeah.
I think you're almost would be, as I said, with Almost Home and Safe Futures and some of the other ones, you're a place to send people to, but I need that person in the social services to know where to send people depending on what their situation is. So again, I'm not gonna say, and again, I'm not speaking for them. My mind is, I'm not pitting you against that, just because it's the timing's happening around the same time. But why not build a better picture, which you may be involved, not as a part of the social services, but as a sub to the social services, some way to send people to. Yeah, so our next decision would be to vote on the 19-2 or some number, the Board of Finance. It's not, they meet tomorrow night, but it's not for them. Probably, if we do this on October 7th, I would send it to them on probably October 8th for them to decide how they want to handle it. And they says, we can't do an appropriation. We can ask for an appropriation, but we can't approve one. Only they can approve it. Okay. I would like to get, and I know you're going to be out for a few days, but I can get a hold of Christy Shetty at Kerma and explain the situation, just say what I can do it tomorrow, actually, just ask them and what would be expected. And I know the insurance really isn't, even though you said it's $1 million, what did you guys pay for insurance for?
Ours worked out to be about $100 per event, but that's because they were event-based, so, but the requirement from the town was $1 million policy.
And as Sarah mentioned, if we're gonna hold her to that, it's like if, can't hold one but not the other. If we're asking the giving closet, and both organizations do good organizations, but they have volunteers and people come in, and it's almost like you have to look at them as both people in that same aisle, I would think. I know it's a little bit different, but it could, if there's.
No, I agree. You can't, we're not gonna say Sarah's gotta pay, but the food pantry is different. But I do think you have to explain, there is a big difference between it's almost like a retail location compared to that, but I agree. They might say we need to have a policy on both. And that's
Or
what
they
we
might
have to
say
do.
it's all, if, they might say, does the town cover the building? If they come, they're good. If it happens in the building or on the property, they're good. So that's what I want to find out. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
We having public comment on this one?
We can, if you want. Yeah, we usually do if we, after we get done discussing, are we done as a board?
I'm all set.
All right, why is there someone that wants to public comment?
We usually ask them. That's all.
Is anybody online that wants to raise their hand and public comment? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to public comment? Sure.
When the PNC went through, wasn't voted on at town meeting, was it? It went to Board of Finance?
Well, the Board of Finance, I mean, excuse me, I'm sorry. The budget goes to town meeting, goes to a public hearing, then a town meeting. And they can, and I go through the budget
Go
line by
through
line, and anybody can ask any question they want. But it's vetted out typically with the Board of Selectmen first, and then when we present to the Board of Finance, and they might have asked for 35,000, we might have said, no, we'll do 32.5.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this with the library.
Yeah.
I mean, for years, they'd asked for this and they got this, so. And another note, Sarah, just so you know, it's not all doom and gloom. Our grand list has been growing for 4 years in a row. The town's in pretty good shape financially. We've held the budget line for 4 years. We've lowered the mill rate for 2 years. We're going through a revow right now. I don't see the town in a desperate situation the next couple of years. Who knows after that? I mean, something could happen to change that, but we have businesses coming into town. We have homes being built, and we are pretty fiscally responsible. Hence this meeting now is like a congressional hearing. But again, we have to ask the questions of those people that aren't here. So picture this. You came in, you know nothing about this giving closet thing. You're sitting there and this woman's up here talking about it, and you're a taxpayer and you go, oh, well, I don't know anything about this. Why are we giving money to these people? Well, you are invested. It's in, your heart. You know it is. And we are more invested because you've told us your story multiple times. But the person living on Northwest Corner Road, or 49, they haven't heard the story. A lot of people don't even come to meetings. They just come to vote when it's time to vote. But we have to do the job of asking the question. So we're asked, we can say, yeah, we asked that question and this is the answer. But I feel bad. It seemed like it was a grueling situation, and I apologize for that. But thank you for all that you do.
Thank
you. Okay. Anything else? Then we're going to move on. On the undesignated fund, I sent you both a sheet of what my recommendations were, And I don't, so my recommendations were this, to pay off the loader, the hook truck, and the 10-wheel truck in the town garage, pay those off in full. Pay off the money, $50,000 for the next 4 years, it's $200,000 towards the underground fuel storage, whether we do it or not, to pay it off, to lock in a price, so it may not cost us the same in 2030 as it's gonna cost us doing this, say, next year.
Yeah, so can I just ask a question on that?
Sure.
So if, I think we talked last time about obligating the money in the undesignated fund to finish and be able to be prepared for the underground fuel tanks. But we don't have to replace them now, correct?
We don't, we can just, we can obligate the 200,000 to put it with the 100,000 we already obligated, right? Because we did that 2 years in a row.
Yes.
Put it over there, so now it can't be spent, but it no longer has to be contributed to because we obligated it.
Gotcha. All right, because
So
I had an issue with the discussion that we had and the Board of Finance regarding, we potentially, I understand they could blow at any time, right? The last report that we had, they were stable. I would hate to take something that we have 5 to 6 years left on and buy them now and then be 5 or 6 years.
Unless we find that the price in 5 to 6 years is 400,000 and now, but it's 300,000 today. So I think that's a study we'll have to get quotes again from people to say, I think Martin McKinney does this. You know, what's it cost us if we do it next year? What's it going to cost us in 2030? Best guess. And if our tanks are in good shape and it's going to cost us 25,000 more, well, maybe we're better off to hold on to that money. If it's going to cost us $100,000 more, maybe we're better off to spend the money and get it done.
Okay.
And I know that they said, well, I mean, doom and gloom, what if it has a leak and then you have to do it right away? So at least we obligate the money, as you just said, it's there. So if it does leak, we have the money to do it, at least a large portion. The last thing is the ambulance, paying those last 3 payments off of the ambulance we got 2 years ago. So what this does, this total is $672,224, which is under the up to 700,000.
What did you say?
672,224. It also clears capital for the next 3 years, some of the capital out for the next 3 years and one item for 4 years. So by 672,224, that leaves me 27,776 left over. And I thought if the tanks had to be replaced sooner instead of later, and if it was, say, 325,000, we'd have that extra money to cover the additional price of getting the tanks done sooner instead of later. So that was my suggestion. I didn't want to do partial payments, like say, okay, let's pay the loader 1 year, but then we got to come back 2 years and make another payment. Just pay it off, get the interest savings, whatever that may be, and get it off capital. And I've already told Logan, Chief Allen, just because we clear off a vehicle doesn't mean you can move another one up. We're sticking with the 30-year plan. So if it's in year 6, it's still in year 6. It's not moving up just because now we have extra money.
So that 27,776, right? Is that what we have?
That would be
Or is
left
it-
over if we spent up to the 700,000 that the Board of
Yeah.
Finance requested.
Does that put us exactly where we need to be? Are we within policy then? If we leave the 27,776?
I mean, it's minuscule, right? So when you're talking $4
We
million.
have the potential to deobligate something and put more in, so.
Well, we do, but I mean, if we deobligate the irrigation, that probably wouldn't happen until a town meeting. We're gonna get, when the audit's done, we may be putting another 400 to 500,000 back in the undesignated fund. But what this is gonna do, it's building up the undesignated fund for the Board of Finance to maybe say in the spring, let's do this again. Let's pay off more capital, or let's pay off a project that's coming up that we know is gonna cost us money. Let's just pay it. But what this is doing is the Board of Finance told the taxpayer, when we have extra money in our undesignated fund, let's use it to pay down capital, which means next year's capital budget will be much lower than it was this year. And it should be lower again for the next year and the year after. There's nothing new, there's no new vehicles coming up from the fire company or the ambulance for at least 3 to 4 years. And the next time there's a vehicle for the highway department is in the 27-28 budget, which is not next year, it's the year after. And it was already planned as part of the 5-year and the 10-year.
You
Yeah.
have different ideas.
No, I'm on board with most of it, and I share your idea of or feelings about the tanks too. I don't mind obligating it for that during this process, but I'd hate to, or something that will last 5 years longer, fixing it now or replacing it now, we're just, moving the 30 years down the road, 25 more years closer. So I think as we get more info on that, then we can address that.
Right.
But if we,
I guess the good news is if it is obligated and it does leak, we have the
oh
money.
yeah, or if it's obligated and in 2 years from now, you say, okay, now's the time to start the process, then it's the time. So I do that. I'm drawing a blank as I look at the capital plan. I don't remember us actually, the school capital plan talk
Well, there's nothing in the school capital
till
plan.
next year of
for
a
ne-
$65,000 track. I don't know, I might be totally drawing a blank on
No,
that, but I
the-
don't know, remember approving it like that.
Well,
with
they
that-
gave
all that
us,
stuff.
this is, we didn't approve, so this is a 5-year plan. We really only had to approve last year,
Okay,
but there was a 5-year plan. And remember, the buses are in that plan and we had them take those out.
okay.
So just because it's in the 5-year plan doesn't mean, so next year, in the 26, 27 year, doesn't mean we have to approve that 65,000 for that Kubota.
Maybe we should look at AC for this building. It's brutal.
Really?
Okay, I'm on board with you guys moving this forward in that way. And just like I said, if we're obligating that money for the tank removal, then that's,
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable than us saying we're doing it this year.
Okay, and I'll explain that tomorrow night when I go to the Board of
Yeah.
Finance meeting.
Can you and or Melissa quantify for us what, not right now, just for the heck of it, to say we are paying off early these particular loans and capital bills that we have. And because we're paying them off early, here's what we've saved the town, because that would be.
Yeah.
a
Yeah, we
really
have
cool
that
number
list.
to be able to advertise.
Yeah, Melissa, Bob, if you ask Melissa tomorrow to send it to you, we have
Yeah.
that already.
Because
For all the leases, we still have to pay some interest, but it's still a significant savings on these
Yeah.
leases.
I think we talked about it kind of at the tri-board meeting. It's all about the messaging and how we present this to the town too, and when we do it, right?
Yeah.
So if, I'm not a proponent of waiting till the budget to do it. I'd love to do it more sooner, because we're saving more money, get it to a town meeting, but then get that messaging out right. This is why we're doing it now. This is our process,
Yeah.
all those things. But think that information will be key during that process.
Yeah, because I mean, I think when I listen to the Board of Finance talk about how it doesn't, what I hear the Board of Finance say is that they would rather have us come a little bit closer to budget and not have this surplus that we are dumping back in to the undesignated, because somehow in some people's mind, it might seem like we have over asked from the residents. But that's why it's really important for us to be able to message and say, we realize this for whatever for all of these reasons, legit reasons, we have a surplus, but here's what we did with it, and here's how you all are gonna benefit from it.
So I think this is a job of the Board of Finance. I mean, I was surprised they tasked us with this. And I thought they were gonna come up with this list, but they tasked us to do it, so now we've done it.
Yeah.
I think they're the ones, that board is the ones that has to do the messaging. It's their message. How do they get it out? They're the Board of Finance. They're the ones to decide how much the budget can go up, what they'll accept, what they won't accept. It's the Board of Finance's job to message to the taxpayer what they're doing and how they've done
Well,
this.
I disagree with that just a little bit. Because first of all, we also direct where some of this money goes and how it's spent in the initial stages of the process. So they approve it at the end, just like they're asking us to do now. So we're kind of following that same process. But I do worry that if we're not involved in that messaging, because I will tell you, and I'm sure if you think about it this way, when you're out talking to the public, the ones that aren't always paying attention to the details, they don't say, oh, the Board of Finance did that. I rarely hear, oh, the Board of Finance, you hear the selectmen or for the bad times and the good times, right? Sometimes it's just the bad times. Rarely do you hear, oh, the Board of Finance mismanaged our money or did these things
I
differently.
mean, I think it's a joint.
Yeah, I think
we
it's
have
joint.
worked well, but I don't want the public to think that they've been cheated.
Right,
By, that we're dumping a bunch of their money in it, it's just sitting in the undesignated fund, that we've chosen ways to not only continue to save the residents money on interest, but now it is going to help us next budget season. And it doesn't mean we have all of that capital dollars that we don't have to designate
Right.
next year.
Sure.
Doesn't mean we dump that into the budget and we can.
No, but what it does mean is I'll get a number on what the savings is on interest, which isn't a
Yeah.
lot. It's not as much as you think, but the savings on interest, but also like next year, we're taking 300,000 out of the capital
Yeah,
budget.
exactly. Like that will
And when,
have
and not,
a direct impact, positive impact on the budget and the residents.
and that's
the
why
mill
the
rate.
policy's written the way it is, and the towns look at it this way, and as a fiscal conservative, when you talk about overtaxing, if most people think about it that way. If we have a surplus, we've overtaxed for these years. So that's why you don't want to keep that money accruing. So I applaud the Board of Finance for saying, hey, we need to do something and we need to follow a policy. So I think that's part of it, but I also think as a board, as a town, we've done a great job at how we're spending money. And I will say the transition of philosophies and staff and how we purchase things, whether it's for the highway department, for town hall, what Bob does, what Suzanne does, all those things contributed to having this excess money at the end. There were years, and there's people out there that pay attention that say, hey, at the end of the year, we were spending down money. We were buying lawnmowers left and right. We were doing all these things. And we worked very hard to be transparent in those and say, we're going to purchase things the right way and we're going to plan. And I think that what this capital plan that Bob worked really hard on and all of town hall worked hard on and the other boards and commissions, like it just shows you what has contributed to this overage.
Oh, actually, yes, I'll say it's a joint messaging. How about that? Are we good with the capital I've chosen to pay off? Or is there something you'd rather pay off? I was just trying to make the numbers work. That's why I stayed away from the tanker, because that number was too high and would have skewed the numbers and put us over 700. And I couldn't wipe it out completely. But there was these other vehicles I could wipe out completely. So do you need your cheaters, Nicole?
I'm either I have to get my glasses or I can't make the motion. If we're gonna list them out.
Oh, I wasn't.
Or
gonna
the
We don't, I
minutes.
don't think we have
You
to
don't think
list
we
them
have to
out
list them
I'd
out?
do a motion as presented.
as presented, and
Okay.
I'll send this exact
Otherwise
same
I
sheet
can
to the
do
Board
it.
of Finance tomorrow morning, so.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to approve the suggestions of spend down that Bob has in our packet to go to the Board of Finance for their approval.
Thank you.
Now, second that.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Bob,
Perfect.
have the, no, actually, it really doesn't impact them. I just didn't know if the departments that this affects know that you've chosen these particular.
Yeah,
things to
because
pay
I've
off.
spoken to Logan, I spoke to Alan and Phil about it, so they know this is what I was proposing. Yes.
So before we move on to the next thing, is the donation policy discussion, I'd like to motion that we table that to the next meeting.
I would just,
So after we come out of executive session, we deal with that. I can, first of all, it's very hot here and I also can see if Nicole, I think she's in some pain from her foot and I'd like to.
yeah, we can table that to the next
So I'll make a
meeting.
motion to table the donation policy discussion till next meeting. And I'm doing that now, so as we go into executive session, people don't wait and say, hey, we're talking about donation.
I'll second that.
Because all I have left after that would be the assessor's position, which would go into executive session
Yeah.
for tax refunds, and then we don't have anything for old business.
So how about I'll make a motion to move tax refunds to right now too.
Okay,
So before we go into 11A, I have a second.
that's fine. Are we also gonna,
I'll
what about public comment? Do you want people hang around for that?
Yeah, we can, I mean, if it's up to you.
What's
You
that?
wanna
If
do-
you're okay with that, with public comment ahead.
We can, yes, we can, if anyone's here to talk about the assessors, I would say no, but if that's not gonna be addressed by the public, then I'll be glad to have public comment before then, so we can go in and we're not keeping
So
people
I'll make
there.
a motion to move tax refunds to now 11. Well, it'd be
I'll
11A and then we move down to 11B. And then public comments after that.
I'll second.
So tax refund becomes 11A, public comment becomes 11B, and assesses, excuse me, the executive session becomes 11C.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, we have to vote on that. We didn't vote.
So that was a motion, you seconded already, Nicole, right?
Mhm.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so those movements have just taken place. So we'll start with the tax refunds.
I can do. So I'll make a motion to approve the tax refunds to Michael Gray and or Kimberly Gray, Donald Corbin Jr., Core Logic, FKA Cotality, Jean McNutt, Jane and Stephen Marone, John Earhard. That it?
I think that's it.
A second. Totaling
Totaling,
$11.99.
yeah, $1,199.68.
1,100 you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she said 11,000, 1,199.68
$1,199
and 68 cents. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's done. And is there any public comment before we go into executive session?
Carl Johnston, AB Ruderman Road. You're gonna have to probably ask for a writer on your policy for the building people. And as soon as you ask the question, you're gonna open a can of worms, but be ready for that. So they'll need a writer, like up at the fairgrounds, everybody comes in. Talking with your hands again, see? Nicole taught me that. At the fairgrounds, we have to have a writer for everybody who comes on the fairgrounds to do any type of thing. So that's probably gonna be the same thing here. Other than that, I think we're good.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, anyways, been an interesting meeting. I'll keep it short. With the giving closet and what Linda Constanza does, I think it's great what they're doing. And I believe those organizations, well, they all started with our school. I was just wondering, is the school going to contribute to any of this? They started it with the school money, from what I understand. So now they're turning it over to the town. We're trying to, at least that's the way I look at it.
So
I think the school ought to put something into it.
so the food pantry is not asking for any money. So
Mhm.
that's not.
Right,
They
but it
never have,
started
and
from
they
the
were,
school.
and they are still the food pantry for the school children and their families.
Mhm.
As I think Sarah mentioned, it's not open to the whole town. It's school related, and that's fine. As far as Sarah, she's no longer connected to the school. She's now she's independent. She's a 501c3, so she has no longer a connection to the school. So it may have started there, but there's no bank accounts, there's nothing going to the school anymore. So it's independent.
Well, what,
And if the school supported it, isn't it still basically taxpayer money that's just coming out of one pocket versus
so what
the
I'm
other?
saying is when the school starts something like that, okay, now they've put money into it.
So that, again, yes.
They put money into it. So now that they're out of it, that's extra money they got. I mean, they had extra money evidently to start them.
So they didn't, because the way it started was, It started with lost and found, from what I heard. Kids lose clothes, and for some reason, they don't go home with jackets and pants, and whatever, not pants, but jackets, sweaters, whatever, they lose clothes. They started getting a big pile of clothes. They started putting them on racks and saying to people within the school, hey, if you come in, look, if this, see if there's anything's yours. If not, if you like, you don't have a winter coat, we have one, you can have it. That's how it started. There was no money exchanged. And there was the Giving Club, started the Giving Closet. That's how it's got its name. But there was no money involved. It was all volunteer by the kids in school. There was only maybe one or two racks of clothes. And then when it moved over here and Sarah started taking donations, that's when it blew up. I mean, if you looked at, you didn't see it, but the number of bags of clothes. So the Lions have that food box, in front of this building down near the ball field. There was bags and bags and bags of clothes that they can't put, if they're not hanger ready, if they're soiled, if they're ripped, they put them in bags, they put them in there, and the Lions get money for it, and the Lions donate money back to the town. Because the Lions do the things that Lions do. So I think it just was a good thing that blew up to the point where it's almost unmanageable.
Well, it just sounded to me when I listened in tonight, that a lot of it had to do for the students. That was basically it. I don't know how many days it's open, but every time I look online, it says they're open like on Fridays. So is that one day a week they're open? And they're open for the students the rest of the week?
So I'm not really sure, Brian, if how often they're open to the public, but so when you think of the students, don't think of those young people as students. Think of them as young people who are part of families. So if they're helping out, whether that kid's a student or not, if that kid needs a coat, that kid needs a pair of sneakers, he's still a member of a family who's a youth who just happens to be of student age. So I think you want to keep tying this back into the school, and I'm thinking we should be tying it back into the families. And most kids go to school, or they're homeschooled, one or the other, but most kids go to school.
It just seems to me like there's another way schools going to get more money from the town, and I think we give them too much money out of it. And the other thing I wanted to comment on is the excess that the town has in the undesignated fund. And I support exactly what you guys doing with it and the Board of Finance. But is that going to be every year? Are we going to have an excess every year like that?
So no, but I would think that because of the growth in our town in the last 3 or 4 years, we've gotten some money that we didn't expect. Some money from Hartford that was more than we anticipated getting in the budget. They might have, after we already did the budget, they might have raised, like this year, the ECS funding, it looked like we were going to get cut $96,000, and that's how we budgeted. Then after that, the governor put the $96,000 back in. So when we have those windfalls, plus the grand list growing, to me, a good problem is your fiscal responsible town leaders underspent the budget, and we got extra money that we didn't expect. And now a good problem is we actually have more money than less. I would hate to be that town that says every year, we're 300 short, we're 400 short, we're 500 short.
No, I agree with that. I just don't want to see it going on every single year.
No, that's exactly the
That's
conversation that we had earlier, is that we want to come in as close to budget as possible.
Right.
And the first time, and tax the people on what we need. But that's always that's our best estimate, right? We
Right.
never, ever know what's going to happen during the course.
We
of the
never
year.
like snow plowing. How
But
do we
that
know
is
when it's gonna snow?
absolutely-
I'm just saying, you got to be able to explain that.
Yes, that's the
very
messaging that we
well.
talked about. But it is coming back to the residents in the form of savings
Yeah.
in these capital. So
Well,
this coming budget year, if it happens to be a really difficult budget year, we are already going to be ahead of the game because we've spent down on these capital projects that we can close out and just be done.
right, because you're going to get a lot of people thinking, what is it, like 3,500 taxpayers in the town? It's 5,000 people, but 3,500 taxpayers.
But
So
to
divide that overage by 3,500, oh boy, we're all going to get a check.
So to Brett's point, if we had additional revenue and we were fiscally responsible on the expense side, we didn't now go run it. We didn't say, go buy yourself a tractor, go buy yourself this,
Right.
go buy more supplies. Alan, do you have enough salt? We don't do that because that would be dishonest, because now the taxpayer thinks that we've got that budget just right. They don't know that we just ran out and spent $500,000 of their money
Right.
that we didn't need to spend. We just did it so we wouldn't show an overage.
I go to a lot of meetings. I understand good part of it, not all of it, but I'm just saying, the other 3,499 people that show up at that meeting that you gotta explain it, you just gotta let them know. Anyways, that's all I got.
Thank you,
All
Brian.
right? Bye-bye.
Okay, so at this point, we're gonna adjourn to a executive session. We'll just go in the back room. I'd like to invite Suzanne Thero into executive session. You guys can stay. We're just gonna go in, shut the door, 5-10 minute discussion. Most of them will come out and we'll finish the meeting. So, okay, so
I'll make a motion to go into executive session and invite Suzanne Thoreau as well.
great, thank you.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, we're going in. Thank you. we're gonna be done in 5 minutes, but anyway, I'm ready, yep. All right, so we're out of executive session. Now let me see, assessor position, number 12 on our agenda, discussion. Is there any discussion? Line Weaver.
Mike was on. I'll make a motion that we hire Jen Lynn Weaver as our part-time assessor.
I'll second.
Second, so what you're actually doing is you're allowing me to offer her the position. correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. Make her an
Thank-
offer.
thank you. Great. Is there any other discussion?
No, maybe just talk about why. we're looking
So,
part-time.
so I think that, the main thing we've had a gentleman in the office when Daryl retired. We brought in a gentleman, Chandler Rose, who works for another town. He was nice enough to come in on Fridays. And we hired another person to go out and do inspections. And we asked Chandler while he was here, and Chandler's been an assessor for many years. And actually, he teaches assessors on how to become assessors. So he's really good. He's so well liked and everybody knows him. And, so after working here for a few weeks, he said, you really don't need a full-time assessor. You got a full-time clerk. This is a place where you could save some money. Most small towns either have a part-time assessor or you share one with another town. That's what I would recommend. Well, because the assessors all talk and the tax collectors all talk and the town clerks all talk, the word got out amongst assessors that, hey, North Stonington might be looking for somebody for a day and a half. And so out of the blue, we got a call from the assessor from Stonington, who just happens to be the president of the Assessors Association. And she's very sharp. She's been in North Stonington. She started years ago. She's in her 40s, but she started in Sterling and then she went to Wyndham and Canterbury. And she's been I think in Stonington for 4 or 5 years maybe. But she's so well respected and she lives in Ledyard. And she says, I can do that job.
Bob, I think we were just talking about why we're gonna do part-time, right? Isn't that what we're?
Oh, I thought we were talking about I thought you wanted to talk about the assessor.
Yeah, the assessor, why, when we did the study of the hours and all those.
Oh, I'm
things, not
sorry. I got
necessarily-
off track. All right. So now they know what a good candidate she is. So yeah, so Suzanne helped with the hours and what it would cost and how many hours the assessor would be needed after Chandler reported back to us. We determined this would be the way to go. It saves the town money. And we're probably going to get fantastic production on less hours of work. And she's going to work well with Cecile, who's had to carried a heavy load for the last 2 years with Daryl's personal situation. So I think it's going to be a win for the town. Someone who lives in Ledyard, who works in Stonington, she's so close. I think it's
And a
going to
significant savings for the.
significant savings
taxpayers.
for the town, obviously. So what we just did, they voted to approve that I offer her the position, and that's where we are. Her name is Jen Lineweaver, and hopefully she accepts the position. That's it. Anything else? Jen, else you want me to say? You want me to give you the whole biography? No. Okay, so that's it. So we've got that approved, so we can move along.
Did we vote on it?
Yeah, I thought we did. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thought we
No, we
did, but
did.
maybe not. We tabled the donation policy, we did tax refunds, we did old business, we did public comment. Next meeting is October 7th. There's only one thing left to do.
Okay,
Can I-
motion to,
Hold on one second. I just want to clarify and wrap up the giving closet. Are we putting that on our next?
I'll put it on the
agenda?
next
Thank you.
agenda.
Okay,
Yes, I will.
go ahead.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned at